Hello all my beautiful little unicorns and welcome back to my channel. In today's Pick a Card tarot reading, we are going to be getting into the next chapter that is coming for you. We will be talking about money, love, work, friendships, and all the in-betweens. Every single message that you are meant to receive will be revealed within this divine psychic prediction. And just as a little disclaimer, I will be taking my sweet time with these three groups, so make sure that you lean back, relax, and enjoy your reading. So whether you're just chilling at home or you're commuting to work or to school, make yourself at home because the next chapter that's coming for you will be laid out in such great detail within this reading that all of your questions will be answered. So the three groups that I've got prepared for you today are as follows. Group number 1 corresponds to the Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck as well as the Rose Quartz Crystal Point. Group number 2 corresponds to the Oracle of the Unicorns as well as the Celestite crystal. And group number 3 corresponds to the Whispers of Healing Oracle deck as well as the Carnelian crystal. But the timestamps to these three groups can be found below in the description box. So all you need to do is pick the perfect group for you, click your timestamp, and you'll be fast forwarded to the relevant portion of this video. Furthermore, you guys, and for more uncensored content for a smaller and more intimate audience, which is a lot more accurate and detailed, make sure that you check out my Patreon and my daily reading subscription. Within my daily reading subscription, you receive a lot of bonus content. All of the patron videos are included in that library as well, ready for you to access, and every single day a reading gets unlocked and sent straight to your inbox when you subscribe to the daily psychic reading service. So check that out in the description box, you guys. This is completely new and I cannot wait for you to try this out. So I will now provide you with a little moment of privacy so you can meditate on these three groups. I do always recommend that you pick whichever group that you naturally and intuitively feel drawn towards. Don't overthink it, but also if you absolutely cannot make up your mind, feel free to tune into two readings because sometimes your reading is a mixture between two groups. Feel free to pause the video right here if you need a little bit more time, and then I'll be right back to guide you into your readings. Alright, so by now you've hopefully been able to select one of these three groups. I will be getting into your readings about the next chapter that's coming for you, which corresponds to the Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck as well as the Rose Quartz Crystal Point. So if this is the group that you chose, then please continue watching, and to my other lovely groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamps. Hello, my gorgeous soul of group number 1, and welcome to your reading about the next chapter that's coming for you. Now, you chose the Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck as well as the Rose Quartz Crystal Point. Look at this gorgeous specimen of a rose quartz crystal that you picked. Here we go, crystal clear. Look at this gorgeous rose quartz specimen that you felt drawn towards. This is an absolutely beautiful stone that attracts better friendships and relationships into your life and allows you to be loved with reciprocity. So that means for you to get the love that you give. All right, so let's get into it, group number 1. Let's see precisely what the next chapter is that's coming for you. So first, we've got the Realm Bridger. You know what's coming next for you, actually? You're bridging the realm between your current reality and your dream reality. That's what the Realm Bridger is all about. The Realm Bridger teaches you precisely how you can get from where you are now to where you want to go. So the next chapter of your life is not just about manifestation, but it's also about learning that you don't have to stay where you currently are. You don't have to stay in your current reality. You don't have to stay in this current realm unless you want to, of course, group number 1. But the thing is, feeling empowered by having a choice. That's what makes things different. When you feel like it is your choice to either stay in this realm or to bridge and go to the next. And the Realm Bridger shows you just that. and instills the confidence within you in this next chapter of your life to know that you don't need anyone to bridge these realms. You've got all of the tools that you need within. You're strong enough, you're intelligent enough, you've got everything that you need when it comes to confidence as well. You just have to unleash it. You just have to believe it. Next up, we've got the crystal keys. Now, Spirit is trying to also say to you, group number 1, sorry, I'm just rearranging our foliage here in the back because I like everything to look very visually appealing for you. Now, crystal keys corresponds to master number 22. If you know a master number 22 life path number, then I want you to understand that they have some amazing advice for you on how to bridge realms because they're a great teacher. If you're a master number 22 yourself, then just know here you have been underestimating yourself wildly. Another thing in the crystal keys in correspondence to the next chapter that's coming in your life is the fact that at the moment, there are crystals that are like portals, that are like keys to the next chapter of your life. You chose the rose quartz crystal. This is your stone. This is your crystal. This is your crystal key. If you've been asking yourself what kind of crystal to get, what kind of crystal to wear, this is it. This is your key to the next chapter, to the next realm within your life. This is precisely the type of energy that you need. Rose quartz is also a crystal that is safe for you to put into water to create elixirs that you can even drink. But of course, always make sure that you check that it really is a rose quartz crystal because you don't want to play around with that. But group number 1, I want you to know here that Spirit wants you to use the rose quartz as your crystal key, as a portal to the next chapter in your life. Next up, we have luminescence. Now, within luminescence, you see how you're holding your heart on this frequency, and you're giving off this very relaxed energy, this very relaxed vibe. You're in the water. You are emerging from a place of calm, from a place of feeling really solid. Now, luminescence shows us here that the next chapter within your life is actually a chapter where you can lean back, where you can relax, where you can enjoy, where you don't feel any pressure, and also where your heart is in a coherent state. So where your heart is on a type of energy and frequency that you want your life to be on. So nobody's dusty son or daughter is stressing you out because you're not allowing it. And also because your crystal keys are protecting you. By having rose quartz that you're wearing and near you next to your bedside table, for example, you're protecting your heart and you're seeing things clearly. You're seeing disrespect for what it is. And rather than like accepting it and letting people be more and more rude and disrespectful, you're just like, you know what? I don't need this. I really don't, because I can do so much better. So let's move a little more deeply into your reading, group number 1. We also have vulnerability. So the next chapter within your life brings you a increased sense of vulnerability, which is actually a very positive thing for you, as I see that this vulnerability has been within you for a long time. You just didn't feel like you had met someone that you can open up to just yet, whom you could actually be that vulnerable with. We also have these crystals here again as well that really do resemble this rose quartz point that you selected. Now, I want you to know that this type of shape is very powerful for manifesting, especially if you point it in a certain direction. I recommend that any kind of crystal rose quartz shape that you have in your home that has a point it in the direction where you would like to channel more energy. Point it towards your desk, for example. If you would like to just do better numbers, if you would like to do better in your job, point it towards yourself at night as well to channel positive, loving energy towards your body while you're sleeping. Point it in the direction that you feel needs help. And also know here within vulnerability that this being part of the next chapter of your life, it makes it easy for you to be a realm bridger. Because when you are vulnerable, you can be honest about what you want, and honesty is important for the universe to open up all of these doors for you. Now, next we have the sound of the universe. The sound of the universe is a symbol that represents that you will hear things. You will have a very clairaudient streak within you in the next chapter of your life. And no, you will not be going crazy, group number 1. So when you are hearing things, I don't want you to worry that you're going crazy. I don't want you to worry that something is wrong with you, I just want you to know here that you have a very clairaudient part of you that is being unraveled, unleashed, and apparent for you to make use of. Because sometimes we can hear what the next steps are from the divine, and it's given to us in a way that can sometimes be a little bit weird to decipher, but you'll get used to it. Like, for example, for me, I kept sensing I need to help more people. I need to do more. I kept hearing from my guides, you'll get there, but you have to serve more. And so I realized, okay, what I really need to do is I need to serve more where I'm the strongest. And that's not, for example, just crystal jewelry and crystals, but it's actually serving more in the sense of creating different videos, of creating courses, of creating more content for people, because that's what they really want. So I heard the sound of the universe, and now that's where I'm taking action. I'm leaning more into my course creation. I'm leaning more into putting new content out there. And I want you to know here that you will get the same pieces of inspiration and also the same pieces of information from your guides, and not to feel as though it's strange or it's weird or to be worried, but instead use it to ignite you, use it to quote unquote set you on fire for what's to come next. And remember here, group number 1, that once you're on fire in this next chapter of your life, you're doing the things that you love, you are being loved, you're having fun romantically as well. Sky is really the limit once all of these different aspects of your life have been unified with ease, because you're listening to the sounds of the universe. You're listening to your guides, your angels, and your guardians fearlessly, because you know that they just want what's best for you. Now, within Stormy, it is completely clear, group number 1, that the next chapter of your life is going to leave you feeling like there was so much going on. Like there were some times where you wish like you could just go back inside, you could just crawl into your shell and not have to deal with anything. But remember that most of the things that are worth talking about, that are worth the effort, it takes time, and these are great things. And when something is worth the effort, it's usually something that you'll feel very proud of. So despite having some stormy times when you are on fire, I want you to know that these wounds, these battle scars, the fact that you can put up with any situation and you've created such a mental strength and resilience within you, no one will ever be able to take that away from you. And that's something that you can use no matter what happens in life. Because you know how people say, for example, money comes and goes? Well, your strength and your resilience doesn't. It's something where once you have the confidence and you know what you're capable of, you don't have to ever leave it up to chance whether it is there or not. You can make sure that you always keep it strong. Next up, we have got in touch with your body. Now, group number 1, have you been doing the meal plans? Have you been eating healthily? Have you been actually sticking to the foods that you know make you feel good rather than the ones that make you feel bloated? I want you to be very honest with me, all right? I want you to leave a little fruit emoji below in the comment section. You can pick any fruit just to signify that you're here, that you chose group number 1, and that you're going to continue to be in touch with your body, or get in touch with your body if you're feeling a little bit of guilt or shame when we're speaking about diet right now. And trust me, I know what that feels like. I come from a background of struggling with my relationship with food in such a dark manner. It was definitely a very hard time, and I would say once you've dealt with something like an ED, it's never fully like something that you get over. It's never something that's like 100% gone. There are always still slivers and traces of it. So if you have a healthy relationship with food and you just need to eat more healthily, consider yourself blessed, because that's actually a great starting point. And I want you to know that. And being perfect with food, that is not the goal either. The goal is to have a sustainable type of diet. The goal is to feel so nurtured and so fully supported by the foods that you consume that you feel like you've got energy to live, to do the things that you love, to accomplish your goals, to be really kick-ass at your job, and to be an amazing partner and lover and friend as well. So this is about fuel. This isn't just about taste. And I know this may sound like, well, it has to taste good too. I get it. Food does have to taste good, group number one. It is important, but we also need to remember, for all of us foodies who are only about the taste and not about the nutrition, it is also fuel. At the end of the day, food is also basically the fuel that we put into our body that decides what type of energy levels that we have, that decides our productivity. So we do want to take that seriously too. Here within the Ace of Cups, I see within the next chapter of your life actually comes a new person who is romantically obsessed with you. That's what the Ace of Cups is all about. Someone who wants to be with you, someone who romantically wants to be closer to you. The Ace of Cups is all about feelings being formed and being shown and displayed. So that's what I see here in the next chapter for you, group number one. And I also want you to know here that they are pouring into you deeply. They're pouring into you like no one ever has before. And oh, okay, we've got the Two of Swords. You'll have to make a decision, because otherwise you may find yourself in a situation where you're stringing them along. So the Two of Swords shows us here that you will have to decide who you want to be with, especially in not just like friendships and friends, but I mean like romantically. You're going to have to pick whether you want to be with this person. You're going to have to say to yourself, all right, do I end up in a relationship with this person? Do I give them a fair chance? Or am I not quite ready yet? And the Two of Swords here also shows me in correlation to Stormy that actually what comes in the next chapter of your life is being very direct with the people who in the past used to be able to trigger you and make you act out of character. Sometimes that could be our bosses, it could be our moms, it could be close friends. But I do see here in the Two of Swords that you are developing such a clean, cutthroat kind of way to just tell them to back off. That's unlike you, but it works like magic. So for example, if someone makes a backhanded compliment, like they're like, oh, you look good, have you gained weight? And they know that you don't want to hear that. You just have like such a great way of saying to them like, no, I haven't. Why? Is there a reason why you're saying that? Or like, why are you saying that? I think we already discussed that that's not appropriate to comment on people's bodies, so I'm not quite sure why you're still saying that. So just like a way of making your boundaries very clear without even having to be rude or even reacting emotionally at all, but just being very matter of fact. And the next chapter of your life, I do also see here there's like this progression in your career of heart coherence and brain and heart coherence. So what you think you should be doing in your career and then actually doing it. And you will be guided in a psychic way, in a clairaudient way. You will hear every step of the way, whether you're making the right choice or not. So no, you're not going crazy when you make decisions at your work and you get this kind of like yes or no answer from your angels directly right then in the moment, almost like a little whisper. At group number one, I am sensing that it's time to clear and cleanse the space and then move a little more deeply into your reading. So you don't need to do a thing, just continue to lean back, relax, and enjoy your prediction. And I will be right back so we can delve even more deeply into your reading. Hello, group number one. Did you miss me? Let's delve a little more deeply into your reading about the next chapter coming for you and figure out precisely what spirit and your guides and angels want you to know. So first up, we've got let go. All right, so the next chapter is about walking away from this situation in order for it to be resolved. So sometimes the only thing you can do is walk away, especially when you're dealing with a situationship or a relationship with someone who does not respect you to the degree that they really should. And you can feel that in your bones, group number one. I am not going to get into this too much. Why is my voice doing that? Okay, it's probably because I am so passionate about this, because I know what it feels like when you know in your bones that something is not going to work. It can be a friendship, it can be a romantic relationship, because they just don't respect you like that. And the more you love on them and give them, and the kinder you are to them, it seems like the worse they get and the more they take you for granted. And there really is so much truth in saying you can't make a person appreciate more of something that they already don't want. Like giving them more of something that they already don't appreciate, don't want, and just don't see the value in, is not going to make them love you more. It's not going to make them treat you better. Like giving them more of your time, more of your affection, more of the things that they're already not showing appreciation for. It's not really going to do anything for you, trust me. Then you just need to let go, and you will feel this deep within that it's time to let go. You may drag it out for a little longer, but you know when it's time. The next chapter of your life is about studying. It's about deep study and being able to study deeply. Reading, researching, educating yourself, helping you to gain confidence and clarity about your career, because you don't have time for someone to be distracting you and for someone to bring nothing but a distraught type of anxious energy into your life. If it doesn't make you feel stable, grounded, secure, it is not for you, group number one. And it is time for you to let go. That's the only way to resolve things. Because with some people, no matter how much you explain to them what they mean to you and where you see things going, they just don't like you that much. And I know it sounds so harsh, but there's a reason why I'm your big sis from the internet, because you guys know I would never lie to you. I would never just coddle you and keep you longer in a situation that inevitably is beneath your worth. I will always tell you to reinvest in yourself, redirect your energy, rather than keeping it where it is not appreciated. Next up, we have got freedom. So group one, you're free to do what you choose, of course. Your guides and your angels, they're trying to tell you this right now. You're completely free to do what makes you happy. By the way, the dolphin is also a symbol of happiness. And I want you to know here that when your guides are showing you this freedom card, it is all about you coming to the point where, yeah, you freely decided to let this person go because you were done being the clown. You are annoyed that you're in a circus. You're annoyed that you're going through some of these emotional roller coasters at the hands and at the mercy of someone who is merciless. Well, the freedom is yours to let go, resolve that, and focus on study. Also focus on taking care of you. Like if there's one thing that I love to do is to redirect my energy onto me. To not put up with some BS, to not put up with someone's crappy behavior, but instead to just redirect, refocus on myself. All right, what face mask am I doing tonight? Okay, what supplement am I ordering to glow and shine from the inside out? Okay, what exercises am I doing? Because I'm going to sleep early, and in order to feel like I've used my energy, I'm going to work out. I'm going to do my 10K steps every single day. Now, your guides are trying to say to you that the next chapter of your life is about manifesting magic, and we've got the symbol of a book again. We already have that here within the study card for you. So clearly getting your head into some books, getting your head into studying, into growing in an intellectual sense is what the next chapter of your life is going to bring. Now, here within Manifesting Magic, I just want you to understand that what comes with the next chapter is actually through education, having new skills that you're able to use in order to make your life better. And when you steer clear of relationships that are not rooted in the respect and the kindness that you deserve in return and all of the love that you've given in return, you manifest magic so much more quickly because all of your energy is going towards you. Exactly. You are in touch with your body. This is the confirmation that you may have been seeking. It's here, group number one. Being in touch with your body, being in touch with yourself, being in tune with your needs. That's what your guides and your future self is trying to say to you. It's time to do. Like, quit involving yourself in situations that you know are like putting your value on sale. You never go on sale, my gorgeous soul of group number one. You are the Birkin, you are the Bentley, you are that restaurant where there's never a sale, there's never a deal, there's never a coupon. In fact, you need to get on the wait list to even have access to these experiences. You are not Pizza Express or whatever these things are, where you can get discounts on unhealthy foods, okay? You are the type of person where another human being should understand that they are privileged to be able to be in your presence and in your kind, loving aura. Because there's so many people out here who are fake. There's so many people out here who don't have others' best intention at heart, or who will even harm others just for fun, just for sport, just because they can. You would never even think to do that, group number one. So the fact that you would even allow someone who does not recognize and value that around you, ho, 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 no. The next chapter of your life is about eliminating this. You see here, we've got the stormy card. We've got this whole emotional turmoil again. And the thing is, like, you're learning your lesson. You're doing self-study. You're digging into those books. You're learning about your attachment styles. There's literally this book about like attachment styles and love languages. I forgot what it's called, but you guys, if you just Google it, you will find it. And you will, when you read these books, and trust me, it is the best investment in time and also money you can make to get these books. It's not an expensive thing to do, and it will teach you so much about yourself and why you even have these chemical reactions, because it's nothing more than that when you're putting up with things that are beneath you. It's just something that you're used to. It's just a chemical reaction that you find comfort in because it is in the known, right? Because it's something that is familiar to you. Because the thing is, when you have been in like toxic relationships, when you have not put yourself first, and all of a sudden you're dealing with being in touch with your body, you're dealing with like manifesting your dream life, and then someone comes into your life who is literally the kindest, sweetest, most thoughtful person, all of a sudden you're like, what is going on? This feels weird. You may think that the connection is boring. You may think that this relationship is different and strange, almost in a negative way, but it's just because you don't know it. And the thing here with the unknown is that there are so many beautiful, amazing experiences and people that you have yet to meet and yet to make part of your life story. Don't steer clear of that just because you want to stay in what you know that has potentially not even served you, right? So here within the Nine of Blades, Spirit can see that the next cycle of your life is actually about cutting. We have 9 blades here. They are black. We've got these black flowers with like almost red eyes, it looks like. Red eyes are tired eyes. We are cutting things off, we're cutting things out, we are getting rid of things that we don't need, that don't resonate, all right? It is about cutting out and doing so in a way that is not reluctant, like doing so in a way that's like, I really don't need this, and I've learned my lesson, and it's fine. And I see here within the 6 of elixirs that we have this kind of version of you that all of a sudden you don't just know your worth and your value, but you're actually standing on it, okay? That's why we're cutting. We're not afraid. We're not in a mindset of scarcity. We're not thinking to ourselves, well, if I cut them off, I won't have them in my life anymore. What if there's nobody who looks like them or makes me feel like them or makes my morning coffee the way they do, or doesn't text me back the way they do, or makes me feel insecure the way they do. All jokes aside, group number 1, like, there are so many amazing people out here that you have not even met yet. But the thing is, like, have you asked your guides to bring them into your life? Have you been open to it? Have you said no to the BS? Or are you always trying to get from one relationship or situationship into the next because you have not yet learned letting go fully and being alone as well? I want you to know here within the Queen of Rods, which is the queen of the element of fire, the next chapter of your life is learning about appreciating yourself. It is about learning to appreciate who you are and learning that there is so much freedom in loving you. There's so much freedom in choosing yourself. There's so much freedom in also understanding that anyone who makes you feel like they think they are the prize, that's bad news. And whether it's friends or romantic relationships, Group number one, this is not what we're doing for you. The death card shows us precisely that. This is a confirmation. Death to those types of connections for you, group number one. No more. You don't need that kind of negativity within your life. The death card also corresponds to the magical number 13. And the death card is all about new beginnings and transformation. And again, we have this kind of knife blade situation. We also have these skulls. You guys, I love how these cards are depicted because it's very cutthroat. And I love how it's just the cutting off, the severing, the collecting of the bones and the skulls to remind yourself why you cut it off in the first place. It's almost like collecting the skulls of past lovers who just talked and never actually acted on all of these words, who just said all of this stuff to confuse you, to make you not go anywhere, to make you have hope, to make you believe in their potential. But then when you actually came to the realization that that's all it will ever be, just talk, and how cheap that the talk really is, and you severed it, you look back and you're like, why was I even there? Why did I even allow that? Why did I even entertain that? So the next cycle, the next chapter coming for you is this chapter of deep, profound realization. And rather than feeling uncomfortable about what you did in the past, you're like, I'm human and I'm happy I learned this lesson now, because everyone goes through some of these lessons. Everyone goes through some of these situations that we look back on, and of course we could feel embarrassed. We could feel like, oh my God, how did I allow that? How did I think they were cute? How did I let someone treat me like this? Okay, sure. We can feel that way towards ourselves, but we can also step away, look at things from a bit of a distance and be like, I'm so proud of myself that I got the lesson now, because there are people in their 80s who have not learned this lesson yet. I'm so grateful that actually I could see what an amazing and kind person that I am, and how much that I really focus on myself, how intelligent that I am, how much I've accomplished, that I don't need to put up with what I don't want to put up with. I'm completely free. And the thing is, you also should feel free to let go. I know letting go can sometimes feel like you're losing something, but are you really losing something that takes a lot of work to hold on to, that takes a lot of work to just keep in your life, and you constantly feel like if you weren't putting in all of this work, it would leave, it would evaporate, this person would let go of your connection very easily? Please, you guys, I have experience with this. This is why I love to share within my readings, because I don't want you to waste your time. I made some mistakes, so you don't need to make them as well. I made some of these mistakes, so you don't need to repeat them. And I don't want you to waste another moment right now if you have a friend or a situationship where you truly feel like if you weren't the one constantly being the glue and holding it together, they would actually let go very easily, or they would be so fine if you don't talk ever again from tomorrow onwards. They would be fine with it. They wouldn't text you first. They would never ask, hey, how are you doing? They wouldn't come back and say oh, I'm sorry. Let's talk this through. Let's figure this out. If you know in your heart you're dealing with somebody like this, please, they're not worth it. They won't be in your life for that much longer. I promise you. Don't waste your time on that, because that is disrespectful to you, group number one. Spirit has some really deep, profound messages about the next cycle in your life, and it is really about eliminating all of this. It's really about eliminating everything that is not respectful towards you. And I know this may not be what everyone wants to hear, because it's hard to be real with yourself, especially when you really, really like someone and you really, really wish it would work out with them. But I'm getting this whole Capricorn Aquarius energy that needs to be let go of. All right, I'm getting this energy of just, you don't deserve to look tired, to feel tired, and to be exhausted because of anyone's son or daughter. You really, really don't need that. And Spirit wants the next cycle of your life to be completely freed from that. Because when you're freed from that, the magic that you manifest, when you invest in yourself, group number one, the fire that you create in your life in a good sense, like your body being on point, your job being on point. All of a sudden, you're driving your dream car, you're manifesting your dream home, your business is doing the type of revenue that you have never seen before. When you pour into yourself, the things that can happen are incredible. Group number 1, I am going to now clear and cleanse the space, and then I'll be back so we can delve more deeply into your reading. You don't need to do a thing. Just continue to lean back, relax, and enjoy this very detailed tarot card prediction about the next chapter that's coming for you. And I'll be right back to guide you into even more messages that your angels have for you here within your psychic reading. Hello, my lovely soul. Let's move a little more deeply into your reading, shall we? So we can figure out more about the next chapter that is coming for you. So first up here in the Three of Blades, please don't panic. I know this card looks very dramatic, but the Three of Blades is actually all about understanding that you don't have to repeat cycles that you don't want to repeat. The Three of Blades is all about feeling the burn of what has happened in the past and understanding, you know what, I went there, I did it, I got the postcard, but I don't need to allow myself to be betrayed anymore. Like, I don't need to put myself in these situations. So the next cycle in your life is about understanding who is your friend, who isn't, and also seeing hope in what's to come next. That's what we've got here within the Star, which is actually one of the most favorable cards of the tarot. The Star card is all about seeing what's about to happen in your future and revolutionizing it. So kind of understanding where you want to go in your romantic relationships, seeing red flags as they arise and avoiding them as much as you possibly can. And then here within the Star, just knowing that every single time you say no to the heartbreak, to the situations that aren't meant for you, you are one step closer to a big fat yes on the life that you absolutely love and desire. I see here within the Tower card that the next chapter of your life is going to start with a very dramatic kind of entrance that's happening. The Tower, the Three of Blades, I see the next chapter is happening in the most dramatic way, just to be like, oh, hey, wow, we've got the Star card. There is actually a huge blessing in what you first thought was WTF. Why is this happening to me? Like, why is my job not going the way I wanted to? Why do I have this water damage in my office? Why is this person who I thought was the one actually not the one? And you'll feel like, oh my goodness, why is this happening? This is such a huge change. I'm not ready for this change. I didn't want this to happen yet. And then you'll be like, thank God it happened. I see that here within the Star. Excuse me, you guys. I hope that wasn't too loud. I know my mic just made like a little weird noise. It's because I was just like readjusting it on my headset to make sure that you guys can all hear your readings crystal clear. So here within the Star, just know that this is symbolic of you seeing a really fruitful future, not based on just wishing it, on imagining it, but actually having the evidence, the proof, and the records to show for it. So quite literally getting offered that different, better job, quite literally thinking you lost the love of your life, but then actually someone comes along who's doing 10 times more than your previous partner ever even thought to do for you. Thinking like, oh my goodness, why am I so unlucky in this situation? Meanwhile, you were just protected. Meanwhile, you are literally just the universe's favorite, but you didn't even know it. So this next chapter of your life is all about like huge aha moments where you're like, oh my God, that's why this was happening. That's why all of these things were going down. That's why I was shown the way in this manner, because I was meant to learn, thinking, oh no, this redirection is scary. This is not where I wanted to go. But you're going to see that your guides, the universe, your angels, they would never lead you astray. They would never lead you in a direction that isn't good for you. Next up, we have the Talk-to-Pite. So here, I want you to know that this is symbolic of growth. This is symbolic of strength. This is symbolic of taking the lead and taking the lead of others who are difficult to lead. So I do see here that stepping into a leadership role, even though it's hard to, for example, lead your dad or someone who you're working with, like divine masculine energy that just doesn't want to listen. And this is the kind of person where the saying really resonates that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. That's the thing. You're leading everyone to water, but you're not forcing them to drink because you're like, that's now your responsibility, not mine. But we're here, and I did what I needed to do. The black tourmaline shows us here that you are literally getting in control of everyone who has a little bit of a primitive nature in your life. So it's almost like you are the beast slayer, the animal tamer. That's what you're becoming next in the next cycle of your life. I know it sounds so weird, but I just want you to know here that what this brings is a lot of power that's put into your possession. A lot. Group number one, like an immense amount, okay? And having a lot of power comes with a lot of responsibility, because that also means people are looking to you for answers when things go wrong. And you can stem this responsibility. This is like a walk in the park for you. You have been parentified from an early age, and so having to make big decisions and lead people, once you step out of your own overthinking that has just developed at a later point in your life and you step into, you remember when you were a kid and you were so confident about your abilities, about what you were good at? Yeah, when you step back into that childlike energy, nothing can stop you. And here within Against the Grain, we have you kind of swimming, floating, and we've got some white birds here, and it feels like the sky, but it also looks as though you're swimming, right? Because we have these, like, it almost looks like water when something is underwater and the light kind of hits the water, and these are the reflections, the shadows. So Against the Grain corresponds to the number 4, and it shows us here that there are definitely some illusions in the next cycle of your life where you are realizing that not all is what it seems. A lot of the challenges that seemed huge are actually really easy, and you don't have to stress about them, because here within in the world, not of the world, you are co-creating with everything around you. You are not allowing for yourself to feel like, oh, you have to work against something or you have to fight for something. No. You co-create with the universe. You co-create with everything that's given to you. Okay, you have something that shows up in an unexpected way, an unexpected bill, an unexpected legal process that you need to go through. Okay, you're going to learn from it. Actually, by doing it, you learn something that others maybe don't know. You learn something for yourself. So if you are ever put in that situation again, guess who has the knowledge to get through it? Guess who knows how to be successful at it? Guess who knows the process? You, group number 1. And guess who doesn't know it? The person who avoided dealing with it and actually just being grateful that they get to go through another very human experience. Within Softly, Softly, the tender touch, know here that the next chapter of your life is meant to treat you in a tender way. Now, this may seem as though, well, how can it be tender if I'm dealing with some of these things? How can life be tender when I have to actually face some of my challenges that I don't want to face? You can still do it in a tender way. Let me explain how to you, group number 1. The way that you can be tender, even in a time where you're dealing with things that are hard for you to cope with or you feel are a challenge, remind yourself in the black tourmaline and the Talk-to-Pite that there is so much of this beast slayer within you that if you have dealt with certain individuals who, should we classify them as monsters or just as like people that aren't really cool, you've dealt with so much that like you can now bring a soft, tender touch to anything that isn't an immediate threat to your physical well-being. You don't have to rush. You don't have to feel as though anything has to be done in a forceful and masculine manner. Okay, you don't like filing your taxes? Put on really soft music, music that makes you feel attractive, that makes you feel hot, where you want to dance to it. Make yourself an amazing hot, sweet beverage of choice. It could be a hot chocolate. It could be a matcha latte. It could be a golden chai latte, for example. Anything that you like. Make it, and make it like a whole vibe, a whole soft aesthetic around doing something that actually makes you feel hardened, around doing something that actually you're like, I don't really want to do this. This is not the soft life. This is not what I envisioned. You can make things the soft life. It's all about how you execute. It's not so much about what's going on. It's really about how you do it. And I just want you to know here within Against the Grain, softly, softly, the tender touch, as well as the in the world, not of the world here within this card, that just being in a very feminine type of energy in your next cycle is actually where you find more strength. Because while you can be a beast slayer, while you can be a dark feminine siren vixen type of individual, you don't always want to be in that, and you don't have to. When you're at home, you're in your own private space. Make it very cute, make it very gentle, do tasks that don't feel gentle in a gentle manner, and really kind of reframe and rephrase those things for yourself so that you don't feel as though, oh my goodness, like I have to deal with this and it's hard, it's masculine, it's not an energy I want to be in. No, you can do anything with a tender touch. You can even control a beast, a lion, so to say, with a gentle, tender touch. And stroking people's ego is a way that you can do that. I see here within the Keeper that rather than feeling like, oh, I'm being inauthentic, I shouldn't be doing this, I don't really feel this way, I don't want to stroke people's ego even though they don't deserve it, blah, blah, blah. Group number 1, you're learning like it is way easier to just give people what they want so you can move on up more quickly, because you're starting to get to the point where with a lot of people it's like, okay, do I want to be right or do I want to be rich? Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? Because the only people who really deserve like your time and all the explanations as to why you're doing things in certain ways, those are the type of people that are few and far between, because not everybody deserves all of that energy. I want you to know here within the 6 of Coins that what is actually coming next is like you're really focused on growing your finances, you're focused on growing your generational wealth, you're focused on planting seeds like we have here with these coins that are closer to the roots, so therefore within the soil. And then we have from that sprouting a tree that's like a money tree. This quite literally looks like a money tree depiction as well. And then you're able to harvest these coins because guess what? You planted these already. And planting is something that you can not just do quite literally, but you can also plant seeds within your mind of winning, of being fortunate, of being the version of yourself you've always wanted to be, of being very financially successful. It all starts with planting those seeds within your mind. And a great way that I do this is by, for example, having a goal board. I love having a goal board where I put my financial goals and I see it every single morning because, well, that's where I'm going. And if you don't know where you're going, how are you able to arrive? How are you able to achieve it? So that's what we've got here within these 6 of Coins for you, group number 1. And having a clear direction and then gently taking the soft steps towards it and just like getting there step by step without stress, without feeling overwhelmed, without feeling like you've got to do all of this extra work. No. You are determined to lead a life that is soft, where you bring a tender touch to whatever it is that you do. And even if others would react in a very like harsh masculine way, You're not doing that, group number one, and that is something to be really proud of, because not a lot of people have the self-control to behave the way that you behave, even when you're being tested, even when you're being tried, even when someone is purposely saying things to push buttons, to push traumas, to kind of rip off the scab that has now finally grown over the wound. You're not reacting to it. And instead, because you're not reacting to it, you gain power, you gain the upper hand. And because you're also not reacting to what seems like some of life's kind of unfair situations here in the Tower and the Three of Swords, actually it just quickly gets redirected into your favor because you're not giving it that energy, you're not giving it that meaning. Words are super powerful when you give them a specific meaning. And you're not giving words that much power that don't deserve the power. So you're not giving insults any power. You're not giving people the power who know where your trauma is and who try to push that specific button. You're not giving them the power to do that because you know that giving them that power takes power away from you, and it also solidifies them in thinking that that's okay. So you give things power, and you are deciding precisely where you want your power to go, where you want the energy to go, where you want everything to flow that is a resource that is finite. And here the Six of Coins shows that for you, you care about your money, you care about your financial security, you don't care about all of this drama and all of this unnecessary stuff, and it shows in your behavior, it shows in the fact that you just don't even put up with all of these types of things. So group number one, this is the reading that I've received for you so far. I am now going to clear and cleanse the space. You don't need to do anything, group number one. Just continue to relax, hold on tight, and I will be right back with you. Welcome back, group number one. So let's delve even more deeply into your reading, shall we, about the next chapter coming for you. Meditation brings answers. Group number one, not to call you out, because I know this reading has been deep, it's been intimate, it's been relentless, it's been very much going to the soft spots, the sore spots, everything that we don't want to talk about, but we're still here, we're standing. Now, your guides are trying to say to you to get back into meditation, especially if you have not been meditating regularly. It is time for you to do so, my gorgeous soul of group number one. If you need guided meditations, I've got guided meditations as well. And I just want you to know here that often when we fall off with meditation, it can feel a little bit not embarrassing, not shameful, not guilt. What's the right word? It can feel challenging to get back into it, and you may procrastinate getting back into a habit of meditating, but it's important that you let go of those emotions, that you let go of feeling like you've fallen off the bandwagon and now you're going to have to start from zero. Yes, you are going to have to, in a way, restart, just like when you fall off with working out, you're going to have to start again, but it's not necessarily starting from precisely zero, because I don't know if you've experienced this before, group number one, but let me explain this to you. For example, if you are someone who likes to run, who is a good runner, and you haven't run in months, but before that you ran like marathon length kind of runs, getting back into it is a lot easier than if you're starting from zero and you never had that experience before. It's just like doing the splits, doing a handstand. Yeah, of course, if you don't practice it, you'll be a little stiff. However, when you get back into it, when you practice it regularly, you will get back into the flow of things and you'll be able to do it faster than you thought. And you're going to go right back to where you were and be able to get even better at it. So know here with meditation that that's precisely what Spirit wants to communicate to you about the next chapter in your life. Meditation will bring you so many answers that you wouldn't otherwise receive. So meditate. Make sure you actually take time for meditation. Don't put it off. It is an invaluable asset for you. Then we've also got the Tower. Wow, your guides are really serious about your Tower moment and wanting you to be able to rebuild on a fresh slate, on a clean slate. And what I want you to know here about the next chapter is that when you get rid of some of the old, some of the things in your past, you kind of tie up the loose ends. And then here in the tower, you get to start afresh again. It is like the most fulfilling, liberating sensation ever, because you know that you've left the past in the past and you don't have to deal with absolutely anyone's BS, because you have closed the chapter, you have tied up the end, and here within the 5 of elixirs, what you can do is just do you and just decide moving forward what you're going to allow and what not, because you've learned so much from your past experiences and you've let them go. And you're actually seeing challenges as something that, of course, is going to come up when you're on your journey to accomplishing anything worthwhile, because anything that's worth something usually has challenges on its path. It usually comes with situations where, yeah, you feel challenged, you feel as though there are some things that you have to work through, that you have to resolve. And anyone who accomplishes greatness will tell you that these challenges, these obstacles, it's literally just a learning curve. It's just another initiation to your next level. It's nothing negative as long as you don't see it as such. Furthermore, I want you to know here in meditation brings answers and letting go, that if there's any kind of resentment that you're still holding on to in regards to another human being, meditation will bring you the answers that you need, and it will give you the confidence, the emotional capacity to let go completely without just saying, oh, I've let go or I don't care anymore, but like really letting go, really not caring anymore about what they did. Next up, we've got sensuality. So I want you to know here that in the next chapter, we've got some really cute fits. We've got some cute lingerie. We've got some cute like at-home outfits that you like to wear, that you like to show off, because you're getting into shape, all right? You're getting into the best shape of your life. And when you're in that shape, it's like so amazing to spoil yourself with beautiful silk robes, with outfits that make you feel sensual and like you're the prize, like you are the main attraction, and that you just want someone to kind of rip off of you, if you will. So that's one thing that I do see here for you, my beautiful soul of group number 1. Let's move a little more deeply into your reading, shall we? So let's see what else Spirit has to say, that Spirit wants you to get comfortable with. We have the 4 of coins, but it did show up in reverse. The 4 of coins showing up in reverse is indicative that there will be a time of spending more money that's coming in the next chapter, and doing so on yourself in a very sensual, fun way, because there are no inhibitions. You don't need to have that, because there's overflow here to be able to spend on yourself. And the 4 of coins reverse also shows us here that this is therapeutic to any of you who grew up in a household where it's normal to be stingy on yourself, or if you watched your parents be super cheap on themselves. It can sometimes be hard to, for example, spend money even on like growth, even on knowledge, even on things such as like online courses, on studying, on books, on things that will actually help you in your personal development, even healthy foods. You may choose the not organic option because, for one, maybe you mistrust if the organic is really organic or if they're just trying to make extra money. And for 2, you may think to yourself, oh, I don't know, it's so much extra money, and you're not even taking into account the value of your health, your self-worth. So breaking these patterns and these habits is what I see in the next chapter. And then we also have the Lover's card. This card popped up in reverse for you. You're breaking the habit of needing to spoil yourself in relation and in regard to a lover being present. You don't need a reason or a lover to wear some beautiful lingerie, to wear a beautiful outfit in order to feel comfortable in it. You don't need that at all. Group number 1, you don't need someone to validate it, to tell you it looks good, or to make you feel like, okay, it's worth spending the money because, well, after all, they're going to really like it. I'm going to be able to present it to them. I'm going to be able to make them like me more, or make them see me as this sexual being. You don't need that. You can do it for you, group number one. And that's what you're doing. You're starting to learn to do all of these things for you. So it's like dating you, taking yourself out, spoiling yourself, doing these things that you were a little shy to do before. It could be because your self-worth, your self-value wasn't where it was supposed to be, but maybe you were also just not mature and old enough, because all of these things, they do come with age, with time, with grace that grows and increases. And there's nothing wrong with taking your time on this. All right, next up, we've got the Strength card. Remember how I spoke about you having strength and not needing to use any kind of brute force in order to get what you want? Well, the Strength card shows us precisely that. You can tame any beast, any situation, anything with your bare hands. You don't have to put in any type of force, any type of violence in order to get what you desire. This next chapter is about getting and attracting everything that's meant to be yours effortlessly. Next, we've got the Death card, which is a very, very huge card of change, of transformation, of transition. It corresponds to the number 13, and it also does actually represent Scorpio when it comes to the zodiac signs. Scorpio is a very mysterious, dark, innovative sign that knows what they want. They can be very intense if you've ever met a Scorpio or been with a Scorpio. And I want you to know here with the Death card that actually the thing is that rather than feeling like you have to eradicate certain parts of yourself, you understand that some things will never be dead. Like there may have been a death, but matter, material energy, it just transforms into a different realm, into a different space, into a different appearance, into a different kind of wavelength, if you will, but nothing is ever truly destroyed. And you know here within the Death card that even parts of yourself that you don't like or that you're embarrassed about, parts of your identity, it's about managing them. It's about allowing them to exist, allowing them to actually be here, but not get in between you and your highest self and your success. So allowing all parts of you to exist, but having them sort of under control, if you will, because death is not the end all be all. Things still exist. It's like if you're the type of person who loves to drink alcohol, or you love to gamble, or you have some sort of addiction in that realm, just because you have finished with that part of yourself, you've gone to seek help, you've gotten therapy, you've gone to rehab, you've stopped the bad habit, however ingrained it was. It is like a death to that part, but it's still here as a ghost. You see what we have depicted in the Death card? It's still kind of here, it lingers, it can be reactivated, even though you've laid it to bed right now. So it is just about keeping that portion of yourself under control, right? Reminding yourself why you quit, why it's better for you this way, what your long-term goals are, and also not being ashamed of this part of yourself, but actually being proud of yourself for getting this skeleton, for getting this ghost under control, for putting it in its rightful place, where we can acknowledge that it's existed and it's been active, but we can also make sure that it never becomes as active as it was when it was destructive in your life. So this is the next chapter that's coming for you that will be freeing of the confinement that this brings with it, because it does feel really encroaching and like confining when you're dealing with an addiction. It's like you can't really live life because you're worried and you're careful. The same thing with like EDs, for example. It's hard to be around other people who can freely eat. That's something I know from personal experience. But here within success, your guides can see, they want to say to you, you know what, you are successful in this next chapter. Don't overthink or worry so much. The biggest thing to be worried about, to be fearful of, is fear itself, not what you're actually worried about. It's usually not that big of a deal if you take it out of the context of having made it a big deal in your head and you're ready for this next chapter. Your guides, your angels are the first to say, you're ready. Don't feel like there's anything that has to hold you back or anything that you can't do at this point in time. Group number one, You are bigger than you think you are when it comes to energy, power, success that you will accomplish. You have a lineage that you're going to kind of like infuse with this life force, with this inspiration that others in your family haven't done before. You're ready to be the leader. You're ready to be the pattern breaker. You are ready to be the one who lets go of these generational curses for the future generations to be free. Now, my gorgeous soul of group number 1, this is your reading that I received for you, and I hope that you enjoyed this very in-depth reading and that you found it insightful. Feel free to let me know in the comment section. I love reading your comments, and I appreciate you more than I can even put in words. I'm sending you so much love wherever you are on this gorgeous planet, and I can't wait to connect with you during one of my upcoming predictions. Hello, group number 2, and welcome to your in-depth tarot reading and psychic prediction about the next chapter coming for you. I will be your psychic reader. My name is Vanessa Somuayina, and to date I have conducted thousands of readings on and offline for you guys. If you would like to watch more readings, make sure you head on over to my channel where I've got over 600 tarot and numerology videos waiting for you. So you chose the Oracle of the Unicorns as well as the Celestite crystal. So this is the gorgeous baby blue Celestite crystal, which goes so well with our foliage and our decor today. You guys know one of my favorite things to do is to also just create a very beautiful, aesthetically pleasing space for you to receive your reading in, like you're right here with me and we're conducting this reading in person. That's my goal, because I want you to feel supported, loved, and of course to figure out what the next chapter is that's coming for you in life. So the Celestite is a very soothing kind of crystal, which you may need if you're a hot-tempered person or you're just going through a time of feeling very anxious right now. So its healing energy is going to be radiating through the screen for you throughout your reading that you're receiving right now. So let's get into it. Spirit guided me to this card, and this card brings the message of a sanctuary. Take time out from the world, spend time alone, meditate, or go on a retreat. So what comes in the next chapter of your life is more meditation, especially if you've fallen off the bandwagon, group number 2. Don't be hard on yourself, and know that we've all fallen off before. Whether it's meditating, eating healthily, working out, it's kind of all the same now, isn't it? Group 2, the vibes for you right now are really all about retreating. It's really all about taking time out from your busy schedule and making yourself the main character, making yourself the focal point. And when you're the focal point, when you've got main character energy, the next chapter of your life can only be a level up, because there's a reason why so many coaches tell you to work harder on yourself than you work on your business or on your profession. It is so important that you do that. And sometimes working on yourself also just means that you take time to rest and relax. Let's see what else Spirit has for you right here about the next chapter within your life. We've got support. Okay, asking for help, getting more rest, nurturing yourself. This next phase and cycle within your life is about accepting help. It is about being okay with getting more rest without having this feeling of guilt, having this feeling of, well, but I should be working, but I should be doing things, but I should be doing X, Y, Z. No, you are exactly where you are meant to be. Resting is something that it doesn't even make sense if it's not guilt-free, because then you can't properly rest. Then you won't feel rejuvenated. You wake up and you're already stressed. You're already wired, and we don't want that. I see that the next chapter of your life, the next chapter coming for you, is really about having safe spaces, relaxing, and also having so much support in it. Now, if you're single, this could be finally like a healthy partner, a very supportive one. If you are struggling in your business, having someone give you a break, so even a family member giving you money, giving you the opportunity to ask them for help, it could be with their advice as well, and therefore even being able to take a little bit of time off, a little bit of time to rest, a little bit of time to vacation, especially if you don't really allow yourself to do that and you're in dire need of it, and it's been like a long time since you've really shut off. And I mean also turning off your emails and so on. and actually feeling held, carried, like you're between these wings here on this beautiful unicorn, and you can just relax into the space and also take time to just be you and do you and not always think about work matters and the next goals. So here within Innocence, your future self is saying, the next chapter is about taking time to play, nurturing your inner child, living with a childlike sense of wonder. Now that means being able to be free, being able to have fun, nurturing your inner child to the degree where you feel as though, yeah, you know what, I'm healing some wounds, because even for me, group number 2, there are things that I wasn't allowed to or able to do as a child that I feel like I missed out on. And I'm doing it now for myself, whether that's going to like singing classes as often as I want, whether that's going out more, whether that's also just buying myself things that my parents would have never gotten for me. That's nurturing my inner child, because some of the things are maybe childish. Some of the things are maybe not what a 20, soon 8-year-old would purchase and would have, whether it's like these unicorn oracle cards, whether it's tarot, whether it's certain items of clothing, whether it's even, like, for example, an expensive camera and so on. These are all things that nurture my inner child, because I've always wanted to do this, and here I am, literally doing it, enjoying it, and being fortunate enough for certain parts of nurturing my inner child literally being my profession. Next up, we've got magic for you. So my gorgeous soul of group 2, within magic, I want you to understand that when it comes to the next chapters in your life, some things will just work out in a very mysterious and magical way that you didn't expect would work out so quickly, and in a way so profoundly connected to where you wanted to go anyways. And I see here within creativity that actually when magic works through you, it comes from a place from you being creative. Now you may think, oh, it's just a coincidence that somehow you were able to cover all of these expenses. It's a coincidence that you got this work opportunity, but actually it came originally from your creativity to problem solve that you have practiced and showed many times in your past. And now you're just finally being rewarded. Now you're just finally being given the magic that has been overdue, that has been pending to enter your magic account. Okay, your magic account will be hit in full force with elevations from the universe that you didn't expect, with help, with support from others that you didn't expect. And it's important that you learn to accept it gracefully, and that you understand that as human beings, we are all one. When someone has a little more advice, a little more resources, a little more time, a little more energy to give, accept it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Okay, we all go through these cycles, and we're one community who support each other. Whether it's, for example, someone helping and nurturing the elderly, so working in healthcare, it's because you now have energy, you have time, and you're also being compensated for it, and you're working for those who don't have that resource anymore, but perhaps they can pay for it, or the system can pay for it. Same goes for relationships, for example. Don't be afraid to ask for that support that you need, because you may feel empty, but that's where someone else comes in and they can nurture you, and you do the same. Remember, this is a symbiotic existence and relationship. None of us have no meaning. None of us are just here for fun. We're all contributing in some way, shape, or form. So just as you give, let's also receive, group number 2. And you may not always receive from the sources that you give to. So it's about reclaiming your energy that had you overthinking and multitasking to a degree that wasn't healthy, because you tried to do everything everywhere. And it is also often great for you to be able to actually outsource a lot of things. So for example, rather than having all of these arms and feeling like you have to be everywhere simultaneously, and then at the same time it's like you're nowhere because there's just so much going on, remind yourself here within Reclaim Your Energy, whether it's outsourcing cleaning, or it's doing food prep way in advance, or you're just finding yourself having help with accounting, having help with product sourcing, with learning a new skill, right? Taking a class, for example. Reclaim your energy by not always trying to do everything yourself and not, quote unquote, DIYing everything by yourself. Next up, we have our ancient future. So here within your ancient future, I want you to know that what is about to happen in the next cycle of your life, your guides can tell, stems from ancient patterns. It stems from your DNA in which you were destined to reclaim the energy and to experience a life of more calm, more leisure during this next period. There will be times that are more fiery where you have to put a little bit more masculine energy into your day-to-day, but this next chapter, this next cycle is about calmness. It's about reconnecting with your inner child. It is about asking for help and receiving it, finally being the receiver, finally being receptive to it as well, and being okay with that and not finding it uncomfortable or weird, but actually finally learning to cope with it and to also be the one who gets a break. Now, within our ancient future, I also want you to know that often the present and the future is a replica of the past. It is just a repetition. And in order to avoid repetitions that you don't like, you have to first become aware of them so that you can reclaim that space and that time. If you don't like the replica or the repetition of feeling bloated after you've had a whole bowl of pasta, how about we switch that out for something else so we're not constantly replicating this ancient future? Because we already know we don't like how we feel when that happens. We already know we're not comfortable in our body. It doesn't digest well for us. Why not switch it out for potatoes, for whole wheat pasta? Why not just try something different so we can reclaim our energy and we're not replicating things that don't serve us? Now, good fortune shows us that this next chapter and next cycle within your life is actually inviting so much good fortune and magic in, so much prosperity. We have these steps here as well. So you are going to climb the ladder. You're going to have more public recognition and recognition for the work that you do. I do also see here within your good fortune that the kingdom is yours sooner than you thought. So if you have wanted to purchase, for example, a home or a rental property as an investment, I want you to know this is what's happening in the next chapter, finding a way to do it and finding a way to climb up the ladders to where it is yours and it's accessible and it doesn't seem like it's far away. So hitting some of the really big goals, even though you're not overworking yourself, even though you're not working yourself to the bone. And first, it might feel a little strange because you're not used to it, because it almost feels unfair that when you were working yourself to the bone, it seemed as though nothing was working and nothing really turned out how you wanted. And now that you've got more of a life of leisure, all of a sudden everything is working out. It might at first really feel strange for you, group number 2, but your guides and spirit want you to get used to this. They want you to get used to the fact that hard work does not always equal the desired outcomes. Hard work does not always equal more money. Just look at some of the hardest working people on planet Earth within our society. It's the healthcare workers, it's the teachers, it's the people who pave the roads, people who build homes, people who are really doing jobs that are not easy on the body, the mind, the psyche, and it's not as though they get paid in such abundance that their hard work is actually making them rich. So there is no correlation to that. It is about doing it within the right energy and working the right way, and you're picking your battles wisely. I see that in a way, there is going to be in this next cycle some shame for working less but earning more and having more in your life, period. But feeling ashamed of it is not the route to go. It's not necessary, group number 2, because your shame isn't going to help the next person who has less. What will help the next person that has less is when you pick your battles wisely, and rather than allowing yourself to feel into shame, what you're actually doing is that you're feeling into, oh, all right, into movement. That's what Spirit wants to say to you, into doing something about it, into moving in one consecutive direction towards what it is that you desire, what it is that you want, and confronting all of the things that you still want to do in a philanthropic sense. Because group number 2, what I'm really getting for you is that you want to help others, is that just because you had your own battles and you've gone through a lot of reflection. A spirit is trying to make sure that I get in your reading. It's about telling you just how much your reflection is seen by your guides, by spirit, by the universe, and now it's time for it to be rewarded, because not a lot of people have the capacity to self-reflect to this degree and be so honest with themselves to this degree. Just because you've put in the hard work and you're in a space of leisure doesn't mean that you ever want to sit still in this next cycle, in this next chapter that's coming for you. You're actually really, really pumped to do more for others, to give back more. So I want you to still really enjoy this moment in this next chapter coming for you, where for just a couple months, it will be about you receiving. It will be about getting more rest, okay, getting 8 or 9 hours of sleep per night. I know it may sound like a distant dream to some of you, but just wait, it will happen. I want you to know that you will be able to prioritize yourself, and before you go to sleep, literally tell yourself, I deserve this, I'm worthy of this, I deserve some good, restful sleep, and you will sleep way better, I promise you that. And just being in a space where it's like you're getting the rest, you're not afraid to ask for help, you're not afraid to nurture yourself. Let yourself be in that cycle and in that space for a good amount of time, and reflect on why you want to immediately keep going, why you want to immediately help others. See the good in it, but also see the danger in it of never allowing yourself to rest and never allowing yourself to enjoy things. And that way you can find the balance. And when you really get sick of this time of being in your sanctuary, taking a little bit of more alone time to retreat, to meditate, to nurture yourself, you will then find, once that is accomplished and you feel like your batteries have been recharged, the next cycle, you'll be a little more careful and mindful not to burn yourself out to where you have nothing left, but you will take time to retreat sooner, because it is a lot harder to jumpstart from zero than from when there's still a little bit of energy in there. Just think of it as like a vehicle, for example. If the battery is dead because you have not actually allowed it to take the time to like run at a good rate, at a good level, it's so much harder to jumpstart a car than it is to take good care of it, to drive it enough but also not too wildly to not burn out the battery. And by driving it enough, I mean when you don't drive a car for a really long time, the battery also dies. So it's just finding that perfect balance to where you just put fuel in, you put fuel in the tank, quite literally speaking, and it works. It's reliable. Sure, you have some maintenance in between. You have to make sure that you're always putting the right amount of fuel in and the right type of fuel, but it works. And it's a lot more productive and effective than letting your fuel run to zero, being stuck on the road and having to ask someone to save you and having to deal with your car being completely like dead, done. Same goes with never using the car. You are going to have to put a lot more energy into jump starting it than it would be to just turn it on, because you've been using it the way you should. So when you're not using vehicles appropriately, they deteriorate, they fall apart, and it's a lot harder to get them back to where you want them to be, to where it is quick, useful, and effective. Your body is a vehicle. Your body is literally your car. It's your vehicle that gets you through life. Whether you walk, whether you crawl, whether you swim, you run, or you jump, whatever you are physically capable of, this is your vehicle. This is the body that you are basically like driving through life with. So it's really important that you learn to care for it effectively, that you learn to prioritize it in a way that you're not in the end causing yourself a lot more damage, trauma, and time being consumed and just trying to fix things that didn't need to be fixed. Now, group number 2, this is the reading that I've received so far. Do leave a unicorn emoji below in the comment section to represent. That way I'll know that you're part of group number 2 and that you're a real one, because that's the only way anyone would know that you're part of group number 2. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear and cleanse the space, and then I'll be right back for us to delve even more deeply into this next chapter that's coming for you. So just hold on tight. You don't need to do anything but continue to relax and receive your messages. Hello, group number 2. Welcome back. Did you miss me? Because now we'll delve even more deeply into everything that's coming in the next chapter in your life. So let's see what else is coming towards you. So we've got the Malachite. The Malachite shows us that the next chapter for you is about transformation. It's about never looking back again and not being the same person that you were up until now. When the Malachite shows up, this is a crystal that brings a big transformation with it, which means that you will hear comments from people telling you that you've changed, that you're different, that you're not the same. And it might make you feel a way in some instances where you feel like you're in a way not being called out, but being made to feel like the transformation means that you've forgotten where you've come from. And that's where it's important for you to not let people trigger you to that degree, because it's just not necessary. You don't have to allow that to happen. And remember here within the Malachite, like, it is a time for you to transform next into this person that you want to be, not who others expect you to continue to be. Because at the end of the day, you're the only one who goes to bed beside yourself every single night unfailingly. You're the only one who will wake up beside yourself every single morning unfailingly. So you've got to please yourself. You've got to make sure that you're happy with your transformation. Everyone else's opinion, secondary, group number 2. So let's move a little more deeply into this, shall we? So aside from people saying you've changed a lot, and some even doing it in a little bit of that backhanded manner of like, oh, well, you think you're better than us now or something like that. We've also got the Aventurine. And what you're going to say to them, this is your piece of wisdom to anyone who says you've changed, you're different. They may even say you're a little bit more upper echelon now. You're a little bit more hoity-toity, if you will. You're going to say to them, you know what? I created my own luck by going out there, working hard, grinding, and actually working on myself. I didn't just sit here and say to someone that I saw upgrading and grinding, oh, you've changed. Oh, you've transformed. You've become so different. I actually worked for this. I went out specifically trying to transform and change. Yeah, this was done on purpose. That's what I'm getting here, this very unapologetic energy, because once you've been through so much to fight for where you stand finally, anyone's comments, they're not going to faze you, and you're just going to see that it is coming from a place of their own insecurity. And you will actually not spend too much time explaining yourself, because there's no point in that anyways. There are some people who have decided to misunderstand you, and they're going to do so regardless of how often you explain anything to them. But to those who are really interested in your change, in your transformation, you will say to them, I see that here in the Aventurine, I created my own luck. I did this myself. This is not something that happened by chance or by accident. And here within time to decide, I want you to know here that the next chapter of your life is about making decisions based on your heart's true desires, on what you really want. So creating your own luck also means creating your own luck in your own lane, creating your own luck in the area of your life in which you desire to be more lucky in. Now, that could be creating your own luck in your career. It could be finding the perfect partner. Creating your own luck can also mean having that dream body of yours finally be in shape long term. So not just doing like a cleanse or a detox and then being trim and lean for a moment, but actually consistently being in a space where you're happy with your external body and you feel like it looks good as well. So within time to decide, you are making decisions based on your heart's true desires, not based on what might rub someone anyway, but really based on what you're trying to achieve and where you're trying to go, because you're the one who's going to have to deal with the consequences. You're the one who is going to have to deal with yourself in old age and thinking back and wondering where the time went and why you did not follow your dreams, why you went with the crowd, and you're not going to allow that to be you, group number 2, because you know that the universe, God, it all comes with bigger plans for you. And in order to see those plans through, you actually need to take a step forward and show that you're willing and ready to make sacrifices and to accept everything that comes with it. Now here within dance, I see that the next cycle and chapter of your life is about moving your body to music too, dancing with the rhythm of life, manifesting your dreams through moving, through dance, and not being so shy about your body. I've actually been in this cycle myself, group number 2, where I often just put on really fun dance music on my headphones or even dance workouts on YouTube, and I just dance to the music. I move to the music. I allow my body to express itself, to release tension, because they say that you release a lot of tension through your hips, as tension is stored within the hips. So literally shaking your butt, okay, literally doing a little bit of twerking or whatever it is that's adjacent to that, because we all know I cannot twerk, and maybe you're in the same boat. I am more of a very tall, very slender person, so it's not really my thing. But you know, here within dance, that even if you're not working with a body that we see in these like seductive dance videos, for example, it's not about that. It's just about the movement. It's about having fun, and also knowing that at any shape and size, you can still dance. It's just going to look different. It just may have a different optical appearance. But why are we judging that, right? Why in society do we attribute certain ways of dancing and moving to certain body types only, when we can all move in that way and all experience the beauty of releasing tension through our hips? Now, within compassion, I want you to know that the next chapter of your life is going to contain a lot of gentleness towards yourself, and remembering that forgiveness will set you free. In this next chapter of your life, you're learning even more deeply to not be fazed or annoyed by anything. And group 2, I have a funny little story here. So I was really annoyed with my mother because she had texted someone that I knew behind my back, even though I gave her this phone number and I said it's for emergencies, and she like texted this person anyways, and it wasn't anything bad. It's just she just wanted to thank this person for being like so kind towards me and so on. And here within compassion, it's as though in the past I may have gotten a lot more upset about it. I was still upset that she didn't tell me and that she misused something I trusted her with. But you just learn to see things through a lens of forgiveness and seeing the intention. And the intention was not to harm, but actually to just show gratitude. And you develop this increase in patience where you take the time to actually explain to the people who are worth explaining to. My mom, thankfully, is one of those. I know not everyone has a mom where explaining even gets you closer to any type of resolution or understanding. I'm very thankful that I am able to still do this with my mom, and just explaining to her, look, I'm not fond of what you did. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it, and I don't want it to be repeated. And the issue is the trust, because it is now damaged. And I want you to really understand the mechanism so you don't do it again. What's already done is done. I forgive you. There's no point in being mad. Let's instead have compassion for the situation. And here within the appetite, this is a message of getting out of your comfort zone. Your next cycle is actually going to contain some sort of extreme experience. I'm getting bungee jumping. I'm getting like half marathon. I'm getting the experience of traveling somewhere very different. Like, I mean Antarctica vibes. I mean Australia. I mean somewhere where you can do things and see animals and creatures and scenery that is very impressive, and that not so many people have been able to do if it's like a faraway situation for where you're starting off, where you come from. So the appetite shows us here that you have the time, the energy, and the funds to do it, and you're doing it. It's one more thing that you've experienced and that you can cross off of your bucket list, and that you can one day tell your grandchildren if you choose to have kids. It's one day something you can put into your autobiography, into your book, into your podcast, into your blog. You can tell people about this. Within the Blue Lace Agate, this is all about finding a calm through finding excitement through experiences, healthy excitement, not excitement through ups and downs in relationships that drain you to the point that you can't even do life or experience life, but actually finding calm in a space where you know your connections are solid, you know you've got healthy individuals around you, so you have calm in your life, which means you can channel your energy into business decisions that are big, that are courageous. You can channel your energy into overcoming obstacles rather than having obstacles be there by default, because the people you keep around you like to be obstacles in and of themselves. So the next chapter is really about using your energy for real obstacles and growth. Now, what that's going to result in, and I love that Spirit is bringing this into your reading in a manner that is so different, that sticks out with this bright orange. You see how we received all of these crystals that kind of go together energetically, color-wise, from the first card with Time to Decide to our entire setup and foliage. Everything intuitively, you saw me shuffling, came together in this very aesthetically pleasing manner. And I mean, there are so many other crystals that you could have received that were absolutely not within this color family, this color realm. But Spirit wanted to set the stage for the conclusion, the final card, to be success, and to tell you that that's precisely what will stick out like a sore thumb in the next cycle and in the next chapter of your life. It will be a huge success. The next chapter of your life is going to make you think back and say, you know what? That was really a great time in my life. That was really a time of a lot of success. Now, group number 2, I'm going to clear and cleanse the space and then be back for us to delve even more deeply into your reading. You don't need to do a thing, simply continue to lean back, relax, and enjoy your prediction. And I'll be right back to guide you into more of the intricate details about what's coming in the next chapter of your life. Welcome back, group number 2. Did you miss me? Let's delve a little more deeply into your reading, shall we? All right, so we've got the journey. The next chapter of your life is going to contain a lot of journeying via car and also via other transportation that is on the ground. So this could be Uber, this could be a bus, this could also be a friend's vehicle and you sitting in the back, being passenger princess as well. I do see here within the journey that you will be spending quite a good amount of time in a car going to places, which shows us here that the next chapter that's coming for you will have travel in it. It will contain you being on the road and going to new places and feeling free. That's what the journey represents, a feeling of freedom, and also understanding that this is a time for you to live. I know we often feel as though we constantly need to work or we constantly need to be productive, but what about living? What about reminding yourself that neither of us know how much time that we've got? So we need to balance each day and each cycle with things that we love as well. And intention brings you the message to be clear and decisive. Focus on what you really want. Be bold with your requests to the universe, and remind yourself here that you can be intentional on your journey and still get to really amazing places on this journey of great success financially, professionally, privately as well. But you've got to be clear and decisive about what it is that you truly want. If you, for example, really want to be able to travel more, there are ways in which you can make your professional life accommodate that. Of course, it will be a journey in itself. It may take some time, some changes, and taking some risks by even switching jobs in this next chapter in your life. However, what's your intention in life? Is your intention to, for example, be working in one place right now, or spending most of your time working from home and being in your home? Or is your focus and what you really want right now to be able to see more, to get out more, to journey more internationally too? I see here within nature that Spirit can tell that for you, nature has always been a sanctuary. Even if you can enjoy a nice big city and some fancy places and a little bit of concrete jungle every now and then, actual jungle is where you feel the most free. Now, find a sanctuary in nature and connect with the elementals. Finding a sanctuary in nature, for me personally, I picked where I live very strategically because I wanted to be able to spend more time in nature. So I literally picked a house that is right next to the forest here in Switzerland, because every day I go out once or twice for walks and for runs in the forest, and I knew that if I had to like commute to a forest, I probably wouldn't even do it. So here I want you to know within nature that nature is a grounding place, and you must find your way of making nature work. For some people, it's every day. For some people, they even prefer to live in the nature. Like, for example, in a tiny home, in a bus, in a tent. There are people who need that much nature. There are people who like apartments in cities and like to go to parks within their city. So nature is really all about finding the way that nature serves you the most and where it serves you the most. One thing that I'm realizing is maybe nature just here where I live in Switzerland is not going to be my forever nature. I might need a little bit of a change. I might need to go to a different country or spend more time in a different place. Because one thing about the journey is that you've got to be intentional about how you feel in life. And sometimes geographically, wherever you are, is stopping you from feeling really free or from feeling like you're living your best life. And when that happens, it may just be time to make those moving plans. It may just be time to look at those houses in Costa Rica and Panama. All right, so I do want you to know here that your next cycle is going to come with some really big changes and also facing your fears. Because the known, the things that you're used to, are the things that can feel really safe. So when you're considering or even planning going somewhere else and letting go of what you know, it's like facing huge fears, and your guides want you to release the power of fear at this very moment, my gorgeous soul of group 2, and to remind yourself here that fear is nothing but an emotion. It's not a thing that can actually come and harm you. It's just a feeling. Face those fears. Release the power of fear. You don't need fear within your life. And the thing is, like, you have dealt with fear all your life, and you know that leaning into it doesn't do anything positive for you anyways. Your guides are saying to you, you know what, let's ramp up these new beginnings. Begin your new life, because your new life is right here. It's accessible. It's ready for you to grab and grasp. I want you to know here in this phoenix that's rising out of the fire from the ashes, that when it comes to the next chapter in your life, you're being encouraged to know that whenever there was a down, you don't have to stay down. You don't have to let yourself stay in that cycle of feeling like, oh, I'm not sure where to go, or allowing your fears to keep you on a mediocre level. It's time to level up, just as you have before. Leveling up never ends. And I want you to know here with intention and new beginnings, the more you set your intention on new beginnings and you do things that correspond to that, the more you will actually find that, oh my God, these new beginnings are really taking place bit by bit. But you've got to focus on it. Like, I have these thoughts where sometimes I'm like, oh, why are these obstacles here? Why is this in my way? But then I remind myself, wait, no, I can use this to my advantage. This doesn't have to be an obstacle. This can literally be like something that I turn into a beautiful project. Like, why is a situation that's out of my control, where I'm having issues in my warehouse with all of my decks and my jewelry, why is this happening? Well, guess what? Because maybe you're meant to move warehouses. Maybe you're meant to do things differently. Maybe it's now time to restructure your business in a way that suits you and your goals and your intentions a lot more, and allows you to journey, allows you to spend more time in nature, because that's where you really heal and you become even more creative. So here within success, what comes in your next chapter is, well, Spirit couldn't be any clearer. Complete success. Your next chapter is a very positive one that's coming for you. And Spirit wants you to know this, to get excited for it, to reiterate it, to make sure that you are not leaving this reading without knowing that your next chapter in life is going to be probably your most successful one yet. Because there's a reason why this is being brought to you, why this is being reiterated so strongly within your reading. And this is to remind you of the fact that some of the best moments, the best people, and the most successful experiences that you're going to have in this lifetime haven't even happened yet. They still lay ahead of you. And knowing that, how could you ever feel as though, oh my God, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing this well enough. This isn't working out the way I want it to. Group number 2, things will work out when they're meant to work out. It's not going to be every day a day of working out, okay? Your Oscars and Grammys and being honored for all of your accomplishments, it's not an everyday thing. It's when you also get through these times of not knowing. And within She of the Lotus, we do have this energy here that is very magnetic, eclectic, different. And I want us to delve a little more into this She of the Lotus card, because I find this a very interesting one to show up within your reading, because originally the She of the Lotus is about like a shadow encountering light and allowing this to transform the shadow. And what Spirit wants you to know here is that when we discard any part of ourselves, we're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, basically. Often our greatest strengths are our greatest weaknesses, and vice versa. So when we reject or deny any parts of ourselves, we end up feeling like hollow, lost, and detached. But when we take them out of the trash and work with them through compassion, gentleness, honesty, and non-judgment, we can shine a light on these shadows and see them for what they are. So incredibly, your perceived weaknesses may vanish when you peel the layers further and further back to explore the past experiences that accompanied them. So accept your shadows enough to bring them into the daylight. That is usually all that it takes for them to dissipate. Their power will dissolve, and you will be able to see them for what they are, or let's say what they are not. So that is a message that we've got here in the She of the Lotus that I absolutely love for you right now, group number 2, because I can feel that this is a message that you really needed to receive and you needed to hear in this very moment. So next up, we've got air. Air is the element of Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Air, corresponding to the magical number 13, shows us here that there's a sort of paradigm shift happening in the next cycle within your life. This card is a very eclectic, kind of free looking card. And the thing that air communicates is more knowledge and power are available to you as an individual, and that you have had this available to you for centuries, but now is the time for you to actually reach out and grab it. So an expansive being here that holds this tiny heart-shaped seedling. This is about the foundations that you build and come from, and that all of that starts with a tiny seedling of love. And the thing here is you will see huge positive changes when you remind yourself that it all starts with you, and it all starts with this tiny little seedling. Things don't usually start out big or successful, and you can engage a lot of tools when you build energetic sovereignty and you create pockets where you can choose to make big changes within your communities. And as already mentioned, to create a community from what started as an idea or just a little seedling. So for example, creating a community on Instagram, on YouTube, a blog following. There are so many different ways you can build a community in this day and age. Patreon, for example. That's one thing that I have been loving to build as well as of recently. I also have my own community in my daily reading subscription. I really love that too, where all of the Patreon videos are, but you also get a daily tarot card reading as guidance, which I just started building recently, and it has been a complete blast, this paradigm shift. From going from a place of wanting to do more personal readings, not knowing how, to finding a way and then actually working on it day by day and seeing people join and love it. Next up, we've got the Four of Pentacles. Now, the Four of Pentacles does show us here that when it comes to the next chapter within your life, we have this kind of sensation of not wanting to spend so much. So you're really using what you have. You're not big on spending a lot of money in this next chapter because to you, you just don't see the point in buying things to impress people that you don't even care about and that perhaps don't even care that much about you, or you may just see for a split second. You're being a lot smarter with your funds and trying to invest your funds in things that make you more funds. And you're more about experiences in this next chapter. And the Ten of Blades shows us here, which is a pretty dramatic looking card, right? With the blades like going down the sides and the back kind of a little bit. And having this figure that's laying there and we don't know, is she or he, are they sleeping? Are they just chilling? Or are they really hurt or even gone? So the Ten of Blades is a card that shows us like it is, the time has come to move on from where we currently are. The time has really come for your next cycle to be initiated. And it is really about stepping out of feeling like a victim or asking yourself constantly why certain things aren't working, but instead like just go to where things work. Just initiate them to work. Put yourself in the mindset of failure not being an option and not even being in your peripheral. Because of course there will be challenges, but it is our personal decision to, for example, say, we are not going to take any setbacks or anything that's unpopular as a failure, but we're going to just keep pushing through. And I want you to know, even statistically, some of the most popular artists, whether it's Taylor Swift or like Justin Bieber, any of these other really big popular artists that I don't really listen to. But what I do know is a lot of their songs are not that popular. Like in their album, there will be a few very like notable hit songs. And I think that goes for almost all artists, also the ones that I really, really listen to on a daily basis and love. Unless you really love that artist, you may only know a few of their songs, like 25% of their songs, and the rest of the album, if you don't actually go and look at it and listen to it and, you know, listen to some songs multiple times until they start to grow on you, you won't actually even like their music. And that just shows that a lot of things that people put out there is not going to immediately grow on people. It's not going to immediately be the most popular thing. And a lot of your work will be unpopular. A lot of what you do will not make it to the light of day. And it's about still putting it out there, still giving options, because that heightens the probability of what you are creating being a breakthrough and what you are making actually ending up being very successful. So give yourself that, my gorgeous soul. Don't feel as though every single thing has to be looked at individually. Look at your entire life as a project and look at your efforts as disciplines that you're following through on. And you know for sure that the more you put out, the more you will see results. Not every single action will yield a result that is immediately tangible and where you can immediately say, okay, this sale that I made came from this action, but it's like a full picture that needs to work together. Now, group number 2, I will clear and cleanse the space, and then we'll move just a little more deeply into your reading about the next chapter that's coming for you. So simply hold on tight and relax, and I'll be right back with you. Hello, group number 2. Welcome back. So let's delve even more deeply into your reading, shall we? Let's see what Spirit has for us here. So we've got the Lovers as well as the Knight of Swords for you. Don't worry, I'm going to show you these cards a little more close up so you can see the depictions and we can delve into the messages. Now, here within the Knight of Swords, I want you to know that what Spirit has to say about the next chapter within your life is the fact that you are a lot more outspoken in this next chapter because you've seen what it's like when you're just the nice person, when you're just the one who's okay with things, when you're just trying to be easygoing. There's no point in you being easygoing moving forward. You're seeing here within the Lovers that you literally cannot mess things up with the right people. Like the right people you can say anything to in any way, and they are going to forgive you. They're going to get it. They're going to want to still work it out with you and rekindle things with you. Just think about it. If you've ever been in a relationship situation with someone, and maybe it was also just a situationship, group number 2, and they were not treating you nicely and they did some stuff that was very much on the border of disrespectful, and you still wanted to rekindle with them. Like you still tried to talk it out, even though they should have been the one to be like crawling back and say, oh baby, I'm so sorry, like how can we make this better, how can we figure this out? But like literally you were the one who was even thinking to rekindle. So you're just realizing that when you really, really care about someone and when you really want things to work, then nothing that you say is going to tick them off. Nothing that you say is going to make the right people stay away from you or not want to still be in your life. And it's not like you're taking advantage of that. It's just that it makes you realize that if someone doesn't have that in them to try to rekindle with you, to try to make sure everything is okay, then they are probably not your person. They're probably not meant for you. So next we have the Five of Swords. So within the Five of Swords, this shows us here that there will be in the next chapter of your life some disagreements with people who just don't agree with you speaking up for yourself and asking for respect, asking for mutual involvement in tasks that need to be done. So like work colleagues, I see here in the Knight of Swords and the Five of Swords, those are the ones that in the next chapter of your life are probably the most affected by your outspokenness, because you're not picking up their slack anymore and you're not covering for them. Now the Two of Swords does show us here that the next chapter in your life is about decision making in correlation here to the Lovers, because the Two of Swords actually always represents you having to make a big difficult decision. And I see here with correspondence to the Lovers with the Two of Swords that it's like this love triangle situation where you're gonna have to pick one. You're gonna have to make a choice. And the thing is, like, sometimes the really nice person, like we can see here in the Lovers, we have this person who is affectionate, who seems like really nice, who's grabbing on with both arms, and you see how the leg is like flipped in the air and it's giving off this like very nice person vibes. And then on the other end here we have this person who's only holding on with one hand, who's kind of looking a little bit like, aren't you gonna pick me? And doesn't have this like please me energy. But you're kind of looking over here, and this next chapter is about realizing that there are some toxic patterns in people you may have grown accustomed to or gotten used to, but that doesn't mean that they're okay or that you should accept them. That doesn't mean that those patterns need to be patterns that you continue to have in your life, or that you should continue picking that kind of person. Because the thing here is, like, sometimes we pick people who show less interest in us because as humans, it just feels when someone is really into us and someone is trying to make everything work, it just feels like they're less valuable than the people who are a bit more aloof, a bit more mysterious, who are putting less effort in. But trust me, that gets old really quickly, especially if you're trying to build a relationship, a romantic one. So the next chapter of your life is really about picking a new type of lover than you have in the past, because in the past, like, the type of lover that you picked was just not for you. It was just not the right person. And the Rainbow Obsidian is about healing your heart and finally actually recognizing ways in which your heart needs to heal, in which it has been damaged and you have been trying the same medicine and looking for medicine outwards that hasn't been healing your heart effectively. Looking for medicine outwards works different for all of us. I have some close friends who look for medicine outwards in the form of very short-lived situationships and just like sensual physical experiences. I've got friends who look for medicine outwards outside of themselves by drinking excessive amounts of alcohol or consuming other substances. Some people over-exercise. Some people look to heal from outwards experiences in the sense of trying to get recognition, becoming workaholics. And the Rainbow Obsidian shows us that the next chapter of your life is really about a very clean approach to healing your heart from the inside out, healing your heart on the basis of you have everything within you, and now it's simply about releasing any type of emotional baggage that you have that has attached you chemically and wired your brain to like solutions that aren't real solutions, that aren't sustainable, that aren't actually healing from a place of truly being good for you. Because healing through kind of just drowning our emotions in alcoholic beverages or going out or meaningless relationships, you're not really healing, right? You're just avoiding, you're just in a way distracting yourself. And that's where the rainbow obsidian and the aragonite bring the message that the next chapter of your life is about honoring the fact that you have tried to heal in different ways in the past, and you've tried to move on very quickly, and in some instances maybe it was helpful and good for that moment, but in many ways you have grown so much stronger now, group number 2, that you don't need to have these external factors to heal. You don't need that type of meaningless recognition. You are healing and feeling your emotions, even if that means that you're at home and you're crying and you're not going out on the weekends, but you're spending time like journaling and painting and caring for yourself. What you have realized is that it's really up to you how you show up, how you heal your heart, and how you release your emotional baggage. And sometimes we think we're releasing emotional baggage when we're actually not, when we're actually just avoiding it, or we're just thickening the baggage by never truly confronting it. Okay, we have trust that popped into your reading. Now, trust is all about you also understanding here that you have to trust yourself in your choices moving forward. You have to trust that when you pick someone who is a healthy person to be around, that you're doing so from a place of deep love and having healed to an amazing degree, having healed to the point where, you know what, you're not going to pick the bad boy anymore. You're not going to pick the person that you know is not healthy in the long term, but because those are the patterns you're used to or you feel like you deserve, you have done it before. Now within If You Believe, the next chapter of your life is actually really about more being up to you than you have given your life credit for. And by more being up to you than you've given your life credit for, I mean you don't have any control over your life and how much money that you make, how people view you, how you're loved, how you're cared for, your health, and so on. The thing here is that you're choosing to let go of that story, that very untrue story, which you have been telling yourself because there's no need for it, because you are understanding that it is up to you, and it's up to you speaking up, it's up to you releasing emotional baggage, it's up to you making sure that you're picking who's healthy, not who just looks good on the outside, who you can really see you could count on. If, for example, there was a child involved, if you had a pet that was sick, if you were sick, if you're dealing with people that you can't really see being there for you, you can't even picture it, or you have to question, like, would they show up? Would they be there? You know, it's your choice. It's your decision now to pick better. It's your decision now to even be by yourself in the next cycle in certain areas of your life than settle for less than you deserve. And I learned this actually already from like middle school or something. I would rather be alone than be with friends who I have to question. And even in like college and high school and stuff like that, like once I noticed like some of the friends, let's just say frenemies, would not be loyal, would not be friends who you can actually count on, and who would kind of drop you as soon as there was like as soon as there was even like a tiny amount of friction within the friend group. And I just dropped them afterwards. Like I just said to myself, I don't even need these quote unquote friends, because if you can't count on friends, what are they there for? If you don't know that they're not going to, every time there's some sort of rift, kick you out of the friend group, there's literally no point in this kind of connection. So I definitely see you being very clear about this in your life in the next chapter, that that's not something that you're still dealing with because you're just too old for it. You don't have the time, you don't have the energy, nor do you have the nerve, even if that means that you're alone for a little bit until you find really amazing friends. And here within Rebirth, I want you to know that it is possible, even as an adult, to reinvent yourself, to give life to your dreams, and to create a new reality in which you also have new friends, new relationships that are supportive, that are amazing, with people who are just like you and who are in the exact same situation as you were in, who also always felt like they were different, like they didn't fit in with the people who they were forced to be with and spend time with, i.e. classmates from school, because that is really what it is. We were just forced to spend time with these people. And of course, if you're the odd one out, you're probably not going to leave school with a lot of like friends for life, but that's okay, because we get to find more open-minded friends later on in life, whereas a lot of people can get stuck in the small town mentality because they will forever just be friends with the same people that they've known for ages, and they're perhaps not as open to new connections and friendships. Now, delight brings you the message to count your blessings and enjoy life. Take pleasure in simple things and always expect the best. That's what Spirit has for you as a parting piece of guidance for the next chapter in your life, group number 2. It's time for you to have fun. It's time for you to count the blessings that are already here, rather than always focusing on what you don't have just yet or what you're working towards. Be inspired and grateful for what you've got, for the blessings that you can already count, and enjoy this life. Take pleasure in the little things, whether it's drinking your favorite beverage. For me, it's like a matcha latte right now. Whether it is just going out and enjoying the sun, enjoying fresh air, having clean water that you can access, a roof over your head, and always expect the best. If you go to a job interview, expect the best. If you meet a new potential friend or even partner, expect the best. Go into every situation expecting the best for yourself and not settling for any less, group number 2. So this is the reading that I received for you. I hope that you've enjoyed it and that you found this insightful. Feel free to let me know in the comment section. I love to read your comments and also to respond to them. And if you're completely new to this channel and you've watched the reading all the way to the end, I mean, we clearly vibe with one another. Don't forget to subscribe to never miss an upcoming prediction. So group number 2, wherever you are in this world, I'm sending you so much love, and I can't wait to connect with you during one of my upcoming readings. Hello, my lovely soul of group number 3. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Whispers of Healing Oracle deck in order to help guide you through the next chapters that are coming for you and your life. My name is Vanessa Somuayina. I will be reading your cards for you today, and I can't wait for us to get into all of the nitty-gritty details. You also chose the Carnelian in connectivity to your deck, and the Carnelian is all about being fierce, fearless, and taking what you want. So this next chapter is going to be filled with energy of, quite frankly speaking up and bossing up and being a version of yourself that has been waiting to come out for a long, long time, group number 3. Let's see what the next chapter of your life is all about. So let's see what we've got for you. Boundaries. All right, group number 3. You know how we just mentioned how the next chapter of your life is about speaking up, bossing up? Speaking up also means setting boundaries and sticking to them. And sometimes it can be really hard to do that because you have to have a willingness to lose people, especially romantically speaking. Oh, group number 3. To stick to your boundaries means that you have to be okay with losing someone who you're maybe just in the talking stages with, and they do something really disrespectful, and you tell them you're either not putting up with it or you're just giving them one more chance, and then they test you again and they do it again because they know exactly what they're doing. And you have to be okay with just saying to them, you know what, I'm done with you. And that being that, not giving second chances, because that would not be upholding your boundaries. Upholding your boundaries also means standing on those boundaries. So do know here that boundaries not only apply to romantic relationships, but boundaries are also here with friends, family, kids, where you have to just properly, openly speak your mind, not be afraid to have boundaries, and as aforementioned, stand on them. Make sure that people know you're not messing around, you're not kidding. If your boundaries aren't respected, you're leaving, you're disengaging. You're not entertaining any of this BS. Your boundaries are your boundaries, and they are non-negotiable. Because some people will try to negotiate your boundaries with you. Group number 3, don't fall for it. All they want is for you to lower your standards, and who's going to benefit from that? They are. So be wise to this. Be wise to the games, the tactics. Be wise to narcissists who always try to negotiate boundaries, who are always the types that like when they can overstep your boundaries and when you give them segue into your mind to allow them to do so, because it gives them more control, because now you've already allowed them to cross boundaries once and then they'll do it again. So boundaries is really also about self-preservation and protection. Boundaries are no joke. I know some people dramatize boundaries a lot and they make it seem like this thing that is a little more dramatic than it needs to be, but having firm boundaries does make a huge difference within your life. So let's see what other messages that we're receiving here aside from your boundaries. We've got forward movement. In order to move forward fruitfully and with growth, with being able to go to new places and to feel happy in the forward movement, we have a happy expression. We have you flying, we have you being led and carried by symbols of transformation, right? We've got butterflies. So in order for a very transformative next chapter in your life of forward movement, these boundaries are imperative, and it's not really something that you can avoid. If you want to grow, if you want to move forward in life, you have to have the boundaries, you have to set them, you have to stick to them, and be willing to lose people who do not actually respect your boundaries. And group number 3, just random question, just asking for a friend. Why would you even want to continue to entertain someone who does not respect your boundaries? Why would you even want anybody in your life who tests your boundaries over and over again, even though you've already stated those boundaries? Where do you think those relationships are going to lead? I know your reading is immediately very head on. It's very much like calling you out, but I want you to know that as your big sis from the internet, your favorite tarot reader here on YouTube, and the one that's going to tell you everything exactly like it is, these messages are important for you in the long run. You may not like it right now, but I promise you, standing on your boundaries and having them is going to help you move forward so much more healthily and quickly than if you're constantly negotiating your boundaries with people who are never going to respect them, because even the next boundary you set, they're still going to try to undermine that one. They're still going to try to breadcrumb you on that until you're starving, really. You're starving for some self-respect and for some respect from literally anyone else in your life. Here within Commit to Happiness, I want you to know that the next chapter of your life, through doing all of this, coming to these realizations, honoring your boundaries, and moving forward, you're committing to happiness. You're committing to having a great life, because guess what? People don't faze you anymore, because if you don't like what they're bringing to the table, you're not eating it. You're not forcing yourself to have it. If you say that you're vegetarian, vegan, gluten intolerant, if you have a nut allergy, you also don't just eat something that someone dishes who doesn't respect your allergy or your dietary preference, and you just say, well, okay, I'm just gonna eat it anyways. Like, even though they knew that you had this kind of like either preference or intolerance or even allergy, very dangerous allergy, and they still did it, it's not like you're still gonna eat it. No, you're committing to your health, you're committing to your happiness. You're not going for all those games because you don't need that in your life at this point, group number 3. So committing to happiness in the next chapter of your life is the main goal. The main commitment being in happiness actually shows us that the next chapter of your life is going to be a chapter that you thoroughly enjoy. Also because you just have this unwavering faith in yourself and in everyone who you've got around you, because the boundary crossers and the people who you can tell just always want to cause some sort of friction, you've gotten rid of them. You don't need them anymore. You're not dealing with that whatsoever, because you know precisely that the universe, your guides, God, there are better, bigger plans for you and better people that are meant to come towards you. So there's no point in giving way to disruption. There's no point in giving any time, any space to people who don't really respect and they just come to disrupt, because what it is, it's just kind of slowing you down from living the life that you could have lived, from any type of forward movement. And you're realizing that. You're realizing that any disruption to your commitment to your happiness, you have full faith that when you see that someone is just a disruption to it, it's not worth having them in your life. And actually, it's their loss, not yours. And I do see like a huge increase in self-worth here for the next chapter of your life, and also being comfortable in solitude, because you no longer have this air about you of scarcity where you think to yourself, oh my God, what if this person leaves me? I'll be alone. What if I don't find someone like them anymore? That's what you thought with the last person. And look where you are. Look at what you've been able to accomplish and experience. Now, the amethyst is all about trusting your intuition in this next chapter of your life. And this goes so beautifully with the faith card that we received. So group 3, trust your intuition, have faith in it, have faith that you are being guided from the inside out, and that when you get a weird gut feeling about a person, that it's there for a reason. And when you get a weird gut feeling about another individual, romantically speaking, you're probably right. If you get a weird gut feeling because you're in a lonely alley at 3 a.m. in the morning and you just think something isn't right, well, get out of there, get out of that situation. It can also be in the middle of the day. And I want you to know that there's a reason why you feel that way. It's not a coincidence. You are meant to have that feeling. You're meant for your body to have this spike in really like stress levels, stress hormones, in order to warn you of danger and to protect you from danger. So have faith that all of these ways of recognizing incoming danger are no coincidence. They were given to you for a reason. And the Labradorite shows us that the next chapter is really about seeing the magic in it and using it to your advantage. So using your intuition as your protection, using it as your guidance, as your protection, as your way of being able to navigate without any fear, without any overthinking, and to really see the magic in, you know what? Yeah, I've got this. Yeah, I can see the magic in the fact that when I have a weird feeling and I listen to it, I'm being protected. I'm not losing out. I'm not making a mistake. And I don't have to justify why I'm deciding to listen to my own gut feeling. I mean, it's so strange to me, actually, even that we have created a society and communities in which we have to justify why we don't want to do something or why we feel away about a situation based on our intuition. God-given intuition, intuition that we were born with. Why rationalize? Why justify? Hundreds of years ago, human beings used their intuition when they were hunters and gatherers, thousands of years ago, in order to navigate, in order to survive. And we did survive as a species, thanks to our intuition. So it is a very important part of who we are, of protecting ourselves, and of where we're going. Now, within miracles, have faith that your miracle is on its way. Your prayers have been answered, and surrender to the how. Now, we have miracles kind of showing up for you in multiple ways. We have miracles showing up for you in the Labradorite, and also in the Miracles Unicorn card right here, which I really love from this Sacred Unicorn deck, the Oracle of the Unicorns. Yeah, I got this deck many years ago, but I still really love it. And I want you to know here that this showing up twice speaks for the next chapter in your life actually being filled with a lot of miraculous incidents that you did not expect to go so well. So amazing, positive miracles that you didn't see coming, and really prosperous surprises for you that you had no idea were on their way, but they're here. And I can't wait for us to delve even more deeply into your reading, group number 3, because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear and cleanse the space, and then we will get into more details of the next chapter in your life. You don't have to do anything, just simply continue to relax, lean back, keep watching, and we'll figure out more of what's coming towards you in the next chapter of your life. Welcome back, my beautiful soul of group number 3. Did you miss me? Let's delve a little more deeply into the next chapter that's coming for you. So let's get into it. Sincere relationships. All right. So the next chapter within your life will be filled with sincere relationships, which is maybe something you have prayed for. If you have been backstabbed by people who you thought were your friends, if you've been treated like you're nothing by people who should have loved you or even said that they loved you, especially in romantic relationships, it can be so scarring. It can be so triggering. Once you've got a sincere relationship in the next cycle of your life, you're like, are we sure this is safe? Your nervous system is feeling a little unsure, all because of what you've been through. And it's so understandable, group number 3, especially if you have any type of trauma related to emotional or physical violence. I know these readings are very deep, and I hope that you don't mind that we're talking about literally everything, all the uncomfortable topics. But your guides want to say to you, look, the next chapter of your life is going to have some sincere relationships here, like some real close friendships and even romantic relationships that start off with a respectful friendship, like we see depicted here. Don't think it's weird. Don't feel as though, oh, well, it's boring. Your nervous system is just addicted to and used to things going differently. And it's fine. We don't need to judge you for it. We don't need to feel any way about the fact that it may be strange and weird once you do have these sincere relationships show up in your life. The thing is just that we don't want to self-sabotage, right? We don't want to be that person that loses the sincere relationships because we are like, oh my God, what is this? It's boring. I don't deserve this. I'm insecure. We're not doing all that because we're already aware of what's coming next. So we have absolutely nothing other to do than to transform from a place of feeling a little sus about these sincere relationships and getting into a space where we feel safe and secure within them, because that's what sincere relationships are about. They're about you feeling secure. They're about you feeling safe. It's about you knowing, all right, this is a place for me to lay my head and to just also practice some self-love. Wow. In group number 3, your next chapter in life is about self-love through allowing sincere relationships and transforming into entertaining them, giving them a chance, leaving all the effed up things you've experienced behind. Even if you still have scars, the next people don't need to pay for that through you just feeling like you can't trust them or like something is off or weird. Give people a real chance, especially like the boring feeling solid ones if you've come from a tumultuous household and past relationships, because trust me, I completely understand you. It can be so weird when you're all of a sudden dealing with someone who sincerely is selfless and just wants to see you happy, and you're like, wait, what? What's the ulterior motive? Like, what's going on here? And the thing here in self-love is that we actually also have this lionfish and we have a stag. I love this African lionfish because I also have the African lionfish in my Below the Surface Oracle deck, which is my Oracle deck I created with all like oceanic animals. And the stag here shows us leadership energy. So it's definitely about you realizing that self-love is about leading yourself to a confident place where you exclusively live within the certainty of, yeah, I deserve sincere relationships and they're here for me to enjoy, to access, and to finally have in my life. And the thing here is that some of us only find these sincere relationships later in life. And many of us go through trauma. You perhaps had terrible middle school, high school experience, and even beyond that felt as though you haven't really found like your squad or your friend group. But I want you to know here that a huge part of sincere relationships and self-love is also just finding like, you know what? It's time for me now to upgrade from that. It's time for me now to understand there are so many great adults out here who completely get what I've been through because they've been through the same. To remember your worth, all right? Like, you deserve someone who treats you like absolute royalty. You don't have to settle for someone who never gets you flowers. You don't have to settle for someone who forgets your birthday or who doesn't text you good morning, my gorgeous, absolutely stunning queen. Someone who doesn't text you good night, who doesn't want to know how you're doing. It's not it. You've got to feel safe, and you deserve to feel safe, and you don't have to settle for anyone's crusty son or daughter who doesn't make you feel safe. The Rhodochrosite is all about remembering your worth and knowing that in sincere relationships, they see your worth and they actually play on it. They actually want you to also know your worth. The insincere relationships are the ones in which people try to strip you of your worth and try to make you feel worthless or worth less, in order to make sure that they can have more control over you. That's literally what narcissists and sociopaths do, for example. And I want you to steer clear of any of these types of individuals, because sometimes you don't even notice that that's what's going on, but that's why your big sis is here to talk to you, to explain to you, and to tell you what to avoid in the next chapter of your life. Because here within the Jade, you are the type of person who can clap back very well. Like, you always have a good comeback. You're quick, you're witty, you're intelligent. But the thing is, like, it's not even worth it, because some of these narcissistic people, when you get in a discussion with them, it's best to just be the bigger person. That's the most self-love you can give yourself, because the goal is only to transform into this sincere relationship circle, right? We don't want anything that's less than a sincere relationship. So let's not even like argue with anyone who's not going to be part of that community and that part of your life anyways, who's not going to be part of those relationships. Now, the smoky quartz shows us that the next chapter of your life is about letting it go. Let go of that person that makes you feel as though you have to like fight for them, or you have to fight for the relationship. No, group number 3, there's no relationship that will last for a lifetime that you feel like you're constantly needing to fight for. There's enough to fight about within this world. Every single day is a struggle for a lot of us. And here within the Iolite, shift your money mindset. Focus on you, focus on money. And I want you to also know here, the next chapter of your life is showing you that when people really value someone, they spend money on that person, whether it's male or female. Female maybe a little bit less, depending on what the mindset is or what the goal of the relationship is. But especially if you're dealing with straight men, or just men in general, they don't even need to be straight. That is a way in which a lot of men express that, yeah, they will use their finite resources to prove to you that they want you to be safe, they want you to feel taken care of and happy and like you're stable. So within the Iolite, this is all about understanding, just get your cash, girl, okay? Just look out for your bag, for your money. Get it from wherever you can, whether it's your job, whether it's also a side hustle, whether it's dealing with a sincere relationship with someone who sees, for example, oh, okay, you really, really love this type of takeout for dinner, and they're just like, let me get it for you. Let me splurge a little bit and get you this thing that you really love and is really useful for you. Maybe it's an external hard drive. Maybe it's a mic because you wanted to start a podcast. Like, shift your mindset around these things. You're allowed to have all this stuff, and you're allowed to be gifted these things. It doesn't mean you're not capable of it, but it just shows here that you're finally dealing with people who would do for you what you would do for them. Would you not do that for someone that you love, group number 3? Because I know you would. Now here, within time to move on, your guides are trying to say to you, look, you have to move on from your old money mindset. In correlation to having just received the Iolite and the smoky quartz, remember, the smoky quartz is about letting it go. The Iolite is about shifting your money mindset. Now we've got time to move on, literally, from my Wild Muse Oracle deck, the most iconic Oracle deck out here. And I want you to just understand when this shows up, like, you gotta let go of the old systems and beliefs that you maybe saw or grew up in, especially if you had parents, for example, who had a poor money mindset. And by poor, I don't mean necessarily just financially poor as in not having money, but I mean a bad relationship towards money, a bad mindset towards money. It's time to move on from that, and Spirit also wants you to just say it how it is. Be honest with yourself. Okay, if your parents never quite got the hang of how to do money and generational wealth, we don't need to make them comfortable by pretending like they did well. I mean, you also don't need to tell them that they messed up if you know that they're very sensitive or also like a little narcissistic and will take it very personally. But you can at least be honest with yourself and be like, you know what, that was not their forte. That was not their strong suit, but I'm letting that go. Because for me now, this is my life, this is my time, and it's actually also my time to move on from these mindsets that are not benefiting me and that I also do not want to pass on or pass down at all. Next up, we've got murky waters for you. Now, my gorgeous soul of group number 3, the next chapter of your life will have some murky waters as well. And I do see here some creatures in these murky waters that you don't really know. You don't really know whether they're dangerous or not. And what I do see here within these murky waters and our butterfly getup here is the fact that actually you are the person who is safe no matter where they go. Like, you may go to another country and literally bathe in like a river or a lake that is murky waters and nothing's going to happen to you. Like, someone else will come out and have some sort of like bad tummy ache. They will have mosquitoes stinging them. They will have all of these things happening. But for you, it's just like you can be at home anywhere. But I still want you to be careful when you're dealing with unknown creatures. And can we apply this, please, to your relationships? And by unknown creatures, I mean, if you don't know more than someone's first name and you feel like things aren't quite adding up, speak up, tell it like it is, be honest about that. But if you can't get clarity and the truth, it's time to move on. Okay, because there are a lot of people out here, if you've seen Tinder Swindler, or if you knew what I had been through in my past long-term relationship, you would know, like, first red flag, move on, because it can get really, really nuts and crazy and just bad. All right. So, okay. So from one being who just wants a peaceful and healthy life and peaceful, healthy relationships to another, I just really want you to ditch people at the first red flag in this next chapter of your life. I just really want you to finally have the self-love to never question whether you'll meet someone like this again, and to never feel as though you are losing out. Like, people feel as though they're losing out when you leave, but you also need to give them the chance to feel that way. If you are desperate, clinging on, hanging on, trying to crawl back to them, they will not feel that way. They will feel like they are the prize, because guess what? You are behaving like they are the prize. You're confirming that in their minds. You are portraying this image that there is something to beg for, like you are beneath them. And please, please, group number 3, never do that, ever, ever. I don't care what the circumstances. Never bring yourself to that level, because even if you want to be with someone again, that will never get that relationship back on track, because they will have lost respect for you. Okay, so they might come back temporarily, but it won't be for long. But the amazing news here, group number 3, is that the next chapter of your life has so much hope on the horizon when it comes to all of your connections, your private relationships with friends, but also your romantic relationships, because you are changing from the inside out. And because you're changing on the inside, it's having an effect on how you look outside. Because just think about it, when you're more confident, you walk differently. You have this little sway in your hips. You smile more. You feel like being more open. You do your hair, your makeup differently. You choose different clothes, your posture. All of these things improve and get more attractive the more you focus on you, the more you focus on sincere relationships, on the transformation that you desire and that you deserve, on shifting your money mindset and letting go of everything, absolutely everything that does not serve that purpose, because Spirit has said it right here. It's time to move on. What are you still doing in spaces that are not letting you be the best version of yourself, that are not letting you see just how loved you are and how worthy that you are? And trust me, no matter how attractive or smart or successful you are, there will always be someone who won't value you or know how to value you. And just because they can quote unquote afford you or afford things doesn't mean that they know how to value you. So that's why a sincere heart, a kind heart, a generous heart, a selfless heart, that's the most important. Of course, you want someone to have their life together, but trust me, usually when people don't have their life together, and I can mostly speak from the viewpoint of dealing with straight male men. I just said this, male men. You guys get what I mean. Straight men. The thing is, often when they are not paid up, when they are not successful, when they are not where they need to be financially, they are mean. They're condescending. They start to try to devalue you. They start to try to do all of that ish because they don't feel good about themselves. So when someone is being mean, doesn't see your worth or your value, often it's also not necessarily that they're a terrible person. Like, let's not demonize these people. Let's understand they're under stress and tension. What they should actually be doing is to step out of the dating game and just focus on getting their money up, shifting their money mindset, doing what you're doing in your next chapter, rather than letting it out on someone that they know they will never be able to make happy and that they can't fully have because they can't really provide in so many different ways, not emotionally, not financially, not in a way of actually being there to support. So I want you to deal with only emotionally available people because you deserve it, group number 3, and you've put in so much work. And this next chapter of your life is about transformation into really just making you the focal point, you the main character. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear and cleanse the space, and then I'll be right back so we can delve more deeply into your reading with some more details that we have not yet unraveled. You don't need to do a thing, group number 3, or lift a finger. Just stay tuned and I'll be right back with you. Welcome back, group number 3. So let's delve a little more deeply to what's coming for you in the next chapter of your life. So let's see what Spirit has to say next. We've got the full moon. Okay, power, group number 3. You are acquiring more power. More people seeing you as basically being this powerful individual that they respect and kind of almost fear a little bit, group number 3. So gaining more power here within the full moon shows that the next cycle of your life is really going to be a cycle of becoming this version of yourself that is intimidating and knows what they want, and where people know not to F with you. And this is not a bad thing. I don't want you to feel as though, oh no, I'm intimidating, people won't approach me and so on. It's like, no, you're actually getting rid of all of the losers, all of the people that you don't want. And by losers, I mean people who do not have any good plans, any good intentions for you. All right, that's what I mean here within having power in the full moon. This is about stepping into your true power, not hiding who or what you are. And the time is right to attract big things for yourself. Ancestral energy is important, so be open to larger possibilities. You have had your phase of people pleasing and being the doormat, but now you've gotten up, you're walking away, and you're stepping into this full moon power. And I just actually did a full moon live event, literally today, which was so amazing. All of you who joined were incredible, and I love that we've manifested just overcoming self-limiting beliefs during this live Google Meets that I put on. You guys check out my Instagram, get on the mailing list from my website, BoLive. Make sure that you just look out for when the next live is, because it's always such a vibe, such a beautiful hangout. Next up, we've got the last quarter moon, which is all about gratitude. So the next chapter of your life, people are going to finally realize that they have to show some gratitude. Like, where has the gratitude been all this time? And the thing here within gratitude is that I also see someone who's elderly and you're holding their hand. So like a grandmother or a parent, and you're seeing the difference between yours and theirs. So they're just older than you. And you're also just realizing time. I know it's heavy, it's hard to talk about this, but you know, when you see that they're aging and they're getting older, it makes you so aware of the fact that time is limited. And I see here with the full moon that it makes you want to step into your full power more, because the more you step into your full power, the less BS you need to deal with from unimportant people and sources in life, and the more you can actually spend time with your loved ones, who most likely have less time left than you do. And they are so grateful every single time you do carve out time for them, even if they don't know how to show it, even if they sometimes say things that are cringy. Trust me, you will never regret spending time with elderly family, with elderly people, period, who you can feel really do love you. So here within the last quarter moon, just spending more time in these circles is so fulfilling for you in the next chapter of your life, because the meaning behind that versus just going out with random friends who you don't know whether they're going to be there next week still, huge difference. The same goes for situationships, for example. If you feel unsure and insecure with someone you've been seeing for weeks or even dedicating months of loyalty to, but you're not really sure if they're actually there for you or they'll actually last, imagine if you put all of that time and energy back into yourself or into people with whom you will never regret having spent that time. But it's just not the same. Obviously, sometimes it is more tempting to hang out with someone you're romantically interested in than like a grandparent. But the supermoon, and I want you to know here, the supermoon is a super powerful card to show up here with master number 44 for you, group number 3. And this shows us here that you are attracting a lot of life path number 4 energy. And here the supermoon is about attracting more power, attracting more situations that will end up in deep gratitude and almost like joyful, happy tears of you being there, seeing you, spending time with you. So the supermoon is an event that does occur every now and then. It's a nice astrological event to celebrate, and you can be magnetic to others and attract the good things in your life. That's what the supermoon confirms. You can also repel what you no longer wish to attract. So be ready for opportunity in this next chapter of your life. Avoid extremes that might cause negative imbalance in your body or also in your mind. And think of connections that are greater than yourself and how you want to attract more of those. So basically a supermoon is a full moon that is the closest distance from Earth in its revolutions. It is also referred to as the perigee moon. The supermoon looks huge in the sky, and being so close to the Earth, it influences the oceans more than usual, causing more extreme tides than are normal. So these changes in gravity and force are certainly noticeable, and for most people who follow the cycles of the moon and do magical workings aligned with them, it is the energy of supermoons that is most important. So if a normal full moon gives you an opportunity to have rocket power under your intentions, then a supermoon greatly magnifies this energy into a supernova. If we're growing, we all want to attract experiences into our lives, and this can be positive relationships, a lifestyle that suits you better, clarity, love, prosperity, creativity, the list goes on. Equally, you also perhaps wish to be able to repel experiences that you don't want, so it's important then to not just know what you want, but also be able to recognize what you don't. Attraction isn't just about what you accept, but it's also about how you discern. Blindly attracting everything that you think of into your life rarely makes you happy, but being focused about it does. So this card suggests that you think globally and for the whole. If you're making intentions on the supermoon, include one for yourself and precisely what you desire for your life moving forward. So the supermoons are where it's at for you, group number 3. Literally figure out when the next supermoon is from watching this video and start to manifest with the supermoon. It's more powerful than you think it is, and it's going to help you in more ways than you saw coming. So next up, we've got prosperity. So one of the ways in which the supermoon is going to bless you when you manifest with it is that a gift of money is on its way. Your income is increasing. Manage your finances with love. That's what your guides are trying to say to you about the next chapter of your life. And prosperity being part of this, it makes sense why we've got the full moon and more power. Because you'll also notice the better your finances do, The more power you have in your community, in your family, just with people around you, you're not going to say it out loud, but you are going to notice how they treat you a little differently when you've got more funds, when you've got more to spend. They do treat you like you're more powerful, like you're more epic, like you're more iconic. They try to hide it, but you realize the shift in energy when your prosperity increases. Now, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just different. And of course, you're going to want to make sure that you try as much as possible to just act the same, be humble, be yourself, and everyone will kind of quiet down and calm down again once they get used to the new you. Next up, we've got Sanctuary for you. Now, group number 3, the next chapter of your life is actually going to have you taking time out from the world and spending more time alone. Meditating, going on retreats. You don't have time for drama, and you're canceling out any dramatic friends. The Sanctuary also shows here some friends will get mad at you because you are notoriously slow to reply to text messages, notoriously slow to call to make sure you're up to date. But like, you're just busy doing all of this growth, taking time out from the world. But let me give you a little tip, group number 3, and that's to just keep people in the loop. So you don't have to text someone every single day or let them know like every single detail. But the thing here is like, just inform people, hey, I'm going to go into work mode, I'm going to go into hustle mode, into focusing on myself mode, I'm going on a meditation retreat, or I'm just retreating, period. So at least they know what's going on and they're not worried about you. Because group 3, you have more people who worry and care about you than you actually knew. And here with gratitude, you see the 2 hands kind of holding each other, and then there's someone here that's looking at it. So they feel a little jealous. If you have like a sibling or someone close to you that doesn't have a amazing relationship or doesn't get as much respect in your family and from elders, they're of course side-eyeing you, doing even better, making even more money, spending even more time with people who are a little older, and they wish they were you. And I want you to know here that they really envy the fact that you don't go out as much as them. Like, you don't have a lifestyle that is unhealthy or as unhealthy as theirs. Like, everything you do is just like a little more elevated than them. And there is some jealousy here that I just want to point out to you that I'm receiving here within the reading, that your guides want you to protect you from and to not feed into. And by not feeding into it, I mean, of course, you can't do anything if someone's jealous on you. It's not really in your control, nor should you let it affect you profusively. But try to just not feed into any of their backhanded comments that they may make sometimes. Don't answer their pretentious questions with a pretentious answer. Just try to be like stonewalling, lukewarm, gray rock them. So that means basically don't give them anything to talk smack about you. So don't give them any ammunition. Don't give them anything where they can say, hey, see what Sarah, what Anna, like, look what Brittany did. Like, no, we're not even giving them that ammunition. Instead, your guides are saying to you in this next chapter, journal more and take your journal everywhere. You can romanticize this so much. You can make this such a beautiful, wholesome hobby. Even if you like to like paint a little bit, why not bring some paint with you so that you can just have fun? It doesn't need to be artwork. It doesn't need to be the best poetry you've ever read in your whole entire life. I mean, it just might be, group number 3. We're not going to rule that out, but it's just about expressing yourself with pen and paper and being able to put your emotions and your thoughts somewhere so you don't feel like it's just circulating in your mind constantly. Now, within use your hands, I do also see for you, group number 3, that pottery, for example, and just hobbies where you're using your hands are immensely powerful and healing for you. So using your hands and doing things like stationary work and even having little like arts and crafts projects that you bring life into that feel kind of like childish, but it's so healing, it's so therapeutic. I don't even know why we make it as though arts and crafts is childish. How is it childish to spend time with yourself in solitude and meditation and create beautiful figurines and works of art? Our ancestors used to do this all the time, especially also as they grew in age. I don't know why it became like a kid thing, maybe as our society turned into this constantly needing to work and productive kind of vibe society. But actually using your hands to create things, it brings you back to such a place of being rooted in ancient energy, even of those who came before you, you know, being rooted in ancient energy of your family's lineage and understanding like this is something that was the norm, this is something that was always done, and it must have some sort of benefit. And the fact that we live in this society where somehow our bodies are meant to just adapt to this constant radiation from all of the electromagnetic fields that are being emitted from the electronics that we're sitting around, that we work on, that we have to use in order to communicate, never actually using our hands anymore, journaling, creating things from scratch. When you get back to that, and I want you to know here in the King of Swords, the message is like you become so much sharper, clearer, and less easy to mess with and confuse. So when you become sharp and clear and less easy to mess with, all of a sudden people start to feel as though, uh-oh, this is not a joke anymore. This is not someone whom I can just play with. And it makes you different because you have an energy that not many people have, because not many people still use their hands to create things from scratch. And I want you to know here within the Strength card that what also comes for you in the next chapter of your life, and actually the Strength card showed up in reverse, so we will of course read it in reverse, is that you no longer need to prove the strength or the courage. You have it within you and you just do it automatically. You're not thinking, oh my God, I'm going to need so much courage to make this phone call that I don't want to make, or to make this dentist appointment, or to talk to my crush. It's like you just do it. You just know that if you want to get anything done in life, you just have to do it. It's just a very diplomatic way of going about life and just not allowing for procrastination to even be part of the options. And I see here within the Knight of Cups that you're doing some growing up that was needed, not because you were childish or immature, but just because there are certain ways in which you were holding yourself back by not growing up and just being like, what the F? Of course I deserve an amazing life. Of course I deserve money. Of course I deserve people who love me and adore me. Like, why am I even letting myself like deal with anything less, you know? So the next chapter of your life is like a big wake-up call. Also, as mentioned, the journaling coming back, keeping a journal, painting, writing, and as you can see here, your eyes just being in a completely different realm and showing yourself a world that only exists within you, and allowing for your vision to come to life, at least in the way of allowing yourself to journal. Now, and also within using your hands, reminding yourself that creating things from scratch, making things from a place where you just start with some clay, or you just start with some wool, for example, if you like knitting, some yarn. I just want you to know here, using your hands in this next chapter, joining something like a club where you can do this with others. I'm getting scrapbooking for you, using your hands and the journal combined, and then the Knight of Cups, which is very emotional energy. It's kind of like the scrapbooking, journaling, but kind of on MDMA, if you know what I mean. Journaling, but on substance, so to say. Not that I know anything about that, but you get where I'm going with this, group number 3. And just going the extra mile of creating something really beautiful that like years from now you will look at and you'll have really fond memories of. And that is also another reason why the super moon energy and the full moon energy, you're attracting more power, because you're just becoming this very not serious person, but just disciplined, to the point, real. You keep a clean space, you're organized, you don't mess around with things that are important or that are serious, you don't break the law, you don't do anything shady. It's like very put together. The next chapter of your life is you being one of those like organizational lifestyle YouTubers and Instagrammers to the T. Now, group number 3, I'm going to clear and cleanse the space again. You just continue to relax, lean back, enjoy the vibes, enjoy the messages, and I'll be back with even more details about the next cycle in your life. Welcome back, group number 3. Are you ready to delve a little more deeply into the next chapter of your life? Because I know I for sure am. So let's get into it. First, we've got soul expansion. So the next chapter of your life is going to be filled with your consciousness expanding. So you're understanding the connections between all things all of a sudden. Everything's going to make sense. It's going to make sense why that time that you were in 5th grade and everyone said that they hated your outfit, and it just like reminded you the other day when you were out and you tried to avoid wearing something that was a little more colorful with ruffles and out there. You're realizing, oh my God, that's from my childhood trauma. Like, now it all makes sense. Now I know why I'm afraid to express myself in that way. I do see here within Saint Germain that also the next chapter of your life is about releasing that karma and moving beyond that internal drama. So creating your own path, creating your own norms, your own way of wanting to actually experience and live life, and making room for good energy. And having all of these connections make sense now. Also why, for example, you don't trust people when you're dating so easily. Well, because you've seen that a lot of people are not trustworthy, or you had to even experience it firsthand. It all makes sense to you, but when it makes sense to you, it also becomes easier to realize, hey, I can rewire this. Just as it was developed in this way to not necessarily serve me, I can rewire my brain to serve me again. And that's what I see here within Charity, group number 3. You are full within prayer and contemplation. You're connecting with heaven, you're asking, you're receiving. And the thing is, just you're realizing the more you just ask for what you want, the more you're actually going to receive. The more you connect with the part of you that is okay with just asking, with just saying what they want, you will have your prayers answered. And I just see the next chapter for you, it's more spiritual, it's deeper. It's a you that you never saw coming, especially if you were always kind of on the very, I don't want to say liberal, but just in a space where you didn't necessarily vibe with religion and so on. But the older you're getting, the more you understand it, and the more it becomes something that you are into and at least interested in, and that you can see the beauty in when people use it for good. Now, within Mary Magdalene, your teacher is awakening in the next cycle, so you have something important to share. Follow that inner call. Don't let anything stop you. You have an important story, and I see here with Mary Magdalene that you're meant to help others, people who are going through trauma, people who have lost loved ones. I see that here with these white lilies, but also people who are getting married, who are engaged. So you are the ultimate relationship expert. That's what I see here. The next cycle, please, like, just get ready to be everyone's relationship therapist, group number 3. Otherwise, like, if you don't want to do that, don't even leave your house, because everyone's going to be asking you. Everyone's going to be asking you your opinion, what you think, how you feel, what the vibe is for the situation. And the thing is that you are so wise, you know so much about human behavior, so not everyone is ready for the truth and the wisdom that you're about to share. So just always bear in mind who you're dealing with, because some people will not be able to take it. Some people will not be able to really understand the fact that you don't mean it in any mean way. You're just being very honest, and you're just telling them what it is that you see, and you're sharing your intuitive wisdom. But a lot of people will also see it, and they'll be very, very grateful for the fact that you're so real, so honest, and upfront. And within Paul the Venetian, I do also see here that you're sharing your gifts with grace. There's no other way to share your gifts other than with grace. Waves of inspiration and love are coming to you in the next chapter of your life, because you finally get to share your intuitive gifts. So if you've always felt like you had a bit of a psychic, artistic streak within you, I want you to know that in this next chapter of your life, you will be able to express it in a way that you haven't before, and even start to build off of it so that you can make this your full life work. So being a teacher, quite literally speaking, like doing a yoga teacher training, doing a Reiki training, learning tarot cards, starting your own online store, starting your own place where you can offer these services. And I do want you to know here that you're going from doing it for free, for fun, to realizing, no, I'm really good at this, and then monetizing it and actually doing it full time, because that's the only way you can really fully live and express your gifts, right? You have to monetize them. If you don't monetize them, how are they going to be expressed in this world? Because you won't have time to, because you're going to be at a different job trying to make a living, and you'll be too tired to really express your true path, your true north, and your true gifts. But group number 3, there's a reason why you're here receiving these messages right now and receiving this reading. It's because Spirit wanted to reiterate to you that your gifts are important, they're valuable, they're needed. And in order to be able to share them, we need a plan for you, group number 3. We cannot just be hoping that things will turn out how we want. No, we need to actually make it happen. And for that, we have to first, of course, advertise your gifts and to share them. See how you feel comfortable in your different gifts, and then start to pave the way to make that your main stream of income, your main life kind of goal, your main life path. Now, within the selenite, the next chapter of your life is also about clearing out clutter, because honestly, like, you don't even have time for that. You're becoming so much more organized, facing some fears where you had fears with spaces that were disorganized. And it's not that you didn't want to organize or be clean. It's just like you were afraid of what you would find. You were afraid of what you would have to deal with. And for some reason that you weren't capable of dealing with it. But the amethyst shows us here that you're trusting your intuition again and understanding, like, no, actually I'm very capable, and intuitively I know that I am done with the previous chapter of my life. It was what it was. I tried to build something with certain people and it didn't work out. I allocated that time and space and energy, and now I was there, I did it, I got the postcard, but now I'm doing things differently, and now I'm a lot less fearless, and I understand, like, I just do my best, and then we see what happens with everything else. I don't need to stress about doing things perfectly. And the thing here that we've got within your reading, and I hope you can read this, it says determination, and we've got this mountain with almost like the sun that's just like glistening, that's shining behind it. And your guides want to say to you, you know, the most precious, beautiful thing about the next chapter in your life is just the determination. It's the unwillingness to stop, to give up, to let fears, or in any sense feeling like you lost, get the best of you. There's never a time in which you lose or you fail if you get up and you just do it again. Because guess what? Eventually you will hit success. Just think about it. Even inventing the light bulb, it took thousands of attempts. You could have said after attempt 10, this person failed. Attempt 1054, they failed. They're not going to do it. But they just kept going until success, because they were determined not to fail. And that's the type of energy that you're exuding here for the next chapter of your life. And I'm so proud of you for this, my gorgeous soul of group 3. And the thing is, like, yes, you're very obsessed and determined to win, to succeed, to reach all of your goals, but you're also doing so in balance. Like, you don't feel like you have to be imbalanced. You don't feel like you have to stress over anything. You know you can do everything while still eating healthily, working out, doing things that you love. You don't have to live an imbalanced life at all. Because guess what? You've got your ish together. You're the type of person who is so focused on themselves that you're using your 24 hours per day effectively. We all have the same 24 hours, but how do you use them? How do you make sure that you're finding that inner peace? Well, my gorgeous soul of group number 3, the next chapter of your life is about that. It's about just finding peace in every day, finding peace in everything that you do, being determined, working hard, achieving your goals, but in a peaceful way. You're not stressing. You're just doing the things one thing at a time. And you're also saying no to some invitations for going out that you know you're just going to regret. You know, when you say yes to that person who's like, oh, let's do something, let's go out, or let's go on vacation, and then the going out time actually rolls around, the day actually comes, and you're like, don't really know if I want to go, don't really know if I want to be out there, I'm not really in the mood for all of that. You're not even putting yourself in these positions anymore, group number 3, because you're too grown. You have outgrown these scenarios, and you know what's best for you. You know what you're determined to accomplish, and you know the lengths to which you will go. And in Clear the Clutter, I'm just getting this visual of your home with everything having a place, with everything being like color coordinated and perfect, and just being put together so beautifully that you feel really proud of yourself. And I love this for you, group number 3. I really do. And I want you to know that the next chapter of your life is probably the most healthy, well-organized chapter that you have ever had. And I can't wait for you to be in it, to live it, to experience it. I just want to add a couple extra messages in for you, because Spirit is just telling me we're not quite done. We're not quite finished here. There's more for group number 3. All right, so we have the waxing gibbous one. You know, you want to know why this next chapter is so awesome? Because you're so discerning. You're discerning about what's for you and what isn't. You're discerning about, is this bringing me closer to my goal? Is this bringing me closer to what I want to accomplish in life, to my biggest life goals? Or is it just keeping me in a place that's mediocre or that I'm not really that happy with? Your discernment and your honesty with yourself is admirable, group number 3. And then we also have the waxing crescent 5, which is about nourishment. All right, the next chapter of your life, no more playing games. Your nutrition is important, and you're taking it really seriously for the first time ever. Like in the past, you were playing around, you were eating the cakes, you were having the unhealthy entire packs of chips, you know, the whole tub of ice cream. And there's nothing wrong with some of these phases, and even just some days and nights like that. It's cool. We can have those cheat days. But the thing is, like, you're really looking at nourishment. Like, you're buying these supplements, these drops, you're taking them regularly. You're eating the green stuff, you know, the green smoothies, the spinach. You're putting the chlorella into your body, the matcha. You are having the ginger, whatever it is that works for your body. Because not all of these things work for everyone. But, you know, eating like the melon for breakfast, having dates instead of chocolate. That's what I see here within nourishment. The waxing crescent 5 is just all about realizing, wow, what I put in my body has such a huge, profound impact on my mood, on my energy levels, on how my body feels, how healthy I feel, how mentally sane I am, and also, of course, physically, how you look and what you're capable of. And you're really just not playing games anymore. You are spending the extra money I see here in abundance on healthy foods and on nourishing your body properly, because you understand that you've only got one body. This is your vehicle. You need to fuel it in a way that is sustainable, not just financially, but I mean also sustainable in keeping you healthy. Because having, for example, like a standard American diet is something that is not going to keep you healthy. You're probably going to end up with heart disease before you know it. So the thing here in the waxing crescent 5 is that you're just becoming really passionate about food, shall I say again, and nutrition again, but this time with a healthy connection, a healthy relationship. You want to love yourself through it, not shame yourself into eating a certain way or looking a certain way. It's about feeling inspired to do good for you, to do good for your body. Take care of your beautiful body that allows you to even go through this life, to experience this life, to walk, to talk, to express yourself, no matter how able-bodied that you are or what you struggle with physically. This is your vehicle, and it deserves respect. It deserves you taking good care of it and not being in a constant battle and fight and argument with it, but being in harmony with your body and really listening to it and asking it, beautiful body, what do you want? What makes you feel good? What makes you feel at ease and at peace? how can I really nourish you in a way that you are at your healthiest, that you can perform in a way that feels light, effortless, weightless. So, my beautiful soul of group number 3, the next chapter of your life is filled with a lot of different upgrades, and I see that you're determined to do things like you've never done before. You're determined to finally be organized, to finally be very healthy, to finally feel really good, to only have peace in your life, to only focus on balance. And the thing here is that while you're looking around and you see that there are a lot of people who aren't doing that, you're not trying to get involved in their situation. If someone comes and asks you for advice, we've got huge teacher energy here. You're more than happy to share. But other than that, you just stick to yourself. You stick to your own business. And it's a very low frictional next chapter in your life, which I love for you because you need that. You deserve that, group number 3. So group number 3, I truly hope that you enjoyed this very detailed, in-depth time of healing and this beautiful reading. Let me know below in the comment section. And of course, do not forget to subscribe if you made it all the way to the end. We clearly vibe with one another. And wherever you are in this world, group number 3, I'm sending you so much love, and I can't wait to connect with you during one of my upcoming readings.